Hey, everybody, and welcome to the latest AFTN Soccer Show live on YouTube. It's an MLS watch-along. We're going to be watching along, singing a song, hopefully walking in a Columbus Crew wonderland, but I guess we'll find out about that. We've never done a live watch-along before, so it's going to be new to us. We're not just going to be talking about the game, though. We've got a number of topics we're going to be talking about over the course of the broadcast. You'll see that there is an empty seat. Zach is somewhere. He is going to come and join us. I'm not sure quite where he is. I wonder if I can... Oh, I can stop his video. So there we go. So Zach will return at some point. But let's just go around and just introduce everyone to the people that are watching. This is also going to come out as a podcast. It'll be episode 422. Plan is for it to go out unedited, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I am Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
I'm William Silver.
And I'm Naveed Mashinchi.
So for anyone that's watching that's not familiar with Will or Naveed, we'll get you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your connection to the Whitecaps, to football. Naveed's going to have a long story in this one, so we'll start with Will.
Sure. I'll try to keep this quick, but so I'm basically born in Vancouver. Been a fan of the Whitecaps pretty much my whole life. Became an active supporter in 2014. Pretty active in supporters activities. Deal with the Whitecaps sometimes and supporters relations, and just an avid supporter even through the ups and the downs.
Now, we actually have a former player with us, a guy that has actually won a championship with the Whitecaps. In fact, the last championship that the Whitecaps won. So
good old days, 2008.
I moved here in 2007. So 2008 was my first season watching the Whitecaps. So bizarrely, watched you made a couple of appearances. Then I watched you elsewhere. So just tell everyone about your journey.
So my name is Naveed Mashinchi, and I was born in Germany, actually, in Düsseldorf, and lived there for 17 years and moved to Vancouver in 2006. And in 2007, I joined the Whitecaps with the original residency group. And in 2008, I made my debut under Taylor Torreson in the USL, played for the Caps from 2007 till 2009. And following my journey with the Caps, I decided to continue my education and played for the Thunderbirds, attended UBC. We had a successful run there, won 2 national championships with UBC. And then following my graduation, I worked for the Whitecaps again in the analytics department for Robo Carl Robinson for 4 years. And so after Robo got let go, I also made the decision to move down to California. And now I'm doing my master's in data science. So I'm still busy with studies.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about some stuff past, present from when Naveed's been involved into the team, working with Robo. And of course, the exciting thing is you're in Sacramento, who will soon be having their own MLS team. So we are going to talk about that. But this is an MLS Cup watch-along. We've started a little bit late, had a few technical issues. We're trying out some new software that didn't quite work. Thanks to everyone that joined the initial stream. This is take 2. So hopefully this will be good. Obviously haven't missed anything from the game so far. They're just lining up for the national anthems. But just quickly go around everyone, and we'll say hi to Zach as well, who has also joined us. He has to dash away. So let's actually start with Zach. What are you expecting from today's cup final? Who have you got to win this? And just what have you made of these 2 teams this season so far?
Yeah, I'm hoping for the Flounders to flounder, obviously. But they are odds-on favorite, and I think it would take quite a bit for them to not win again tonight. But yeah, definitely hoping that Columbus is able to pull it off. I think when you look at their seasons, Seattle has been, they had a couple of hiccups and stuff. There's a couple of games at MLS Cup that they probably want back. But they've been pretty steady and like pretty good most of the way. Columbus was peaked a little bit earlier, but has come on in the playoffs. And yeah, really hoping that they're able to get the job done tonight.
Naveed, I don't know how much you've seen of these two teams over the course of the season, but what are you expecting from tonight?
To be honest, I haven't followed Columbus too much, but the Sounders I have, and it's quite seriously, it's astonishing to me, like how I don't know how many times they've been in the final after the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I
It's
think it's 4.
It's 4. Yeah, it's very impressive, and I mean, to be honest, like Schmetzer is kudos to him. I mean, obviously he's got the resources and everything, but he gets the job done somehow.
I mean, he does. And I mean, that's the thing. Well, his contract's up at the end of this year, and he made it known very early that he hadn't been offered a new deal yet. His stock is now like sky high. You've got a couple of teams in this league now who are looking for new coaches. Toronto's been one of them. Obviously, there's been all these Seattle-Toronto matchups over the last couple of seasons. The irony, if Toronto came swooping in to take Schmetzer to Toronto. But I mean, Will, what do you think of what Schmetzer's done down there? He's one of those coaches that he's not the most charismatic. He can be quite grumpy and tetchy in his press conferences. He's not a sexy name when he got appointed, taking over from a legend like Ziggy Schmidt. But what he's done in the last couple of seasons, it's just been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, they always seem to, I mean, they obviously have a great team, but they always seem to come back, especially recently. And the last game was, I mean, I was dancing on their graves, which I had about 5 nice minutes there where it looked like it was all going to go for Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, he's just done a miracle there. I also think too, to a certain extent, that it's really nice to spend money on a number 10. And I think these teams show that. And I think it shows the value of a number 10 in this league. And obviously, I think his stock is high, but there's a couple of people that I think are rumored to go to other countries like Ladero and a number of other people. And I just think that what they've put together there in Seattle over the last 5 seasons has been pretty amazing.
So we're going to get set to kick off. So obviously we've not done on this show a live watch along. So we're going to try and see how synced up we are when kickoff comes, just so everybody at home kind of knows as well. If you're listening to this later on the podcast, doesn't really matter. But it looks like we are going to get set to kick off any second. Jeremy Rufo is the referee.
They're waiting for all the people to get into the stadium, Michael. Just wait a minute.
Yes. Oh, it's a normal Columbus home.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
There we go.
So I should let you know a little story about my this week and how much I've been paying attention to MLS. The last time I checked with MLS, the Minnesota was up 2-0 on Seattle. So I don't know if you saw the videos yesterday when I was showing you the initial setup. I had Minnesota in the final because I had no idea Seattle had come back in that game. I had watched no highlights or anything like that, and then somehow it popped to me that it was Seattle. I think one of you guys mentioned it, and that's when I checked and I said, "Oh my God, Seattle's in the final." So that's how much I've been paying attention.
I've now kicked off. I'm 5 seconds in.
Oh wow!
Oh, I'm not. They're still showing
I'm 14.
One of the keepers in.
Oh wow!
I'm way behind.
I'm way.
Should I pause it for 6
off.
seconds?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you
kickoff.
are you guys
On
watching
5.
it on TV or on?
I'm on TSN.
live?
Yeah.
TSN
I'm
live.
like a
or-
fiber optic stuff.
TSN.
I'm Fox
TV.
in the US, but I'm synced with Zach. I think I'm on 15, 16.
I just got kickoff right now.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Don't worry about it. You guys just watch.
Yeah, that's. I'm not
think,
gonna
"All right."
spoil anything. Yeah.
I'm not
think-
worried about being spoiled or anything.
Yeah.
I'll try and not do what we were talking about before we went live and spoiling this for people. But
I
we're
think
not-
if people are watching it on TV with you guys, don't think they'll be spoiled.
yeah.
But
I
you
mean,
guys
yeah.
sync with the audience. That's better. Then don't worry about us.
So I guess because I've got the sound down, I'll just quickly turn it up as long as this doesn't get us a copyright strike. So we've got the Fox commentators here. I wasn't sure if they would get Luke Wildman and Caldwell to do the commentary. I was hoping they were going to get Caldwell to do it because I thought that would possibly drive some more people to our stream. But it would appear not. So we're going to be live. We're going to have all mics open during this. Steve, myself, Naveed, and Will are going to be here for the duration of it. Some of us might pop in and out over it. Zach has to dash away, I think about 6 o'clock as well. Who knows, if it goes to extra time or something, he might be able to pop back in. We'll kind of see how all that goes. Oh, what has happened?
I'll wait.
I'm not wanting to spoil it for you guys. I thought it was a penalty. It's not. Because
no, it's a
because
corner.
I took my eyes off the screen for a split second and I looked up and everyone was around the referee and I was like, oh.
Because remember, our stream is like on YouTube is going to be delayed too a little bit as well. So it's not even.
And I
synced
noticed
up
that
there.
too. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, crowding the referee is like a pastime in Seattle.
It was the Columbus guys that were actually crowding the referee. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I guess before we get too much into it, I'm kind of hearing someone's got
I think
teeth
it's
or
Will.
something.
It's Will, I think.
Yeah.
He's talking to delivery guy.
Oh,
What he got
that's
to.
fine. Yeah, we're gonna have all the
Okay,
mics
good.
open, so you're gonna hear some stuff. You're gonna hear people making their dinners, and it's like, a Seattle chance here. Let's just have a quick go round as to who we think's going to win this. I want the Crew, but I can't see past Seattle. I've got to say, I just think their experience is going to get over the line in this one.
Head says Flounder, heart says Columbus.
Right.
I'm with you.
I'm hoping for the Crew as well. Although, but the thing is, with Caleb Porter being the coach there, you wonder if he knows he can pulls out something magic, some old Timbers magic.
What about yourself, Naveed? Who have you got for this?
Hart says Columbus because actually you guys might not know. You guys remember Lagish? He was part of the medical group. He was a physio under Robo. He is a physio for Columbus, so I'm rooting for Columbus.
And John used to be there, right? John.
Yes, yeah, John, I think so too. Used to be in Columbus.
He's in Portland now, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's some Whitecaps relationship, I would say.
I didn't know he ended up in Columbus. I knew he was gone. I forgot he was in Columbus.
I heard that he's in Columbus right now. So I'm hoping that'll be great for Lagish. He's a physio there. But I think, I haven't followed Columbus too much, but I would expect Seattle to take it.
Now we should get to what everybody wants to know is what did Will just get for dinner?
Yeah, Will.
Right.
So funny story. That was actually an Amazon guy who was lost.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I do have a chicken burger here, which
Okay.
I'm going to try to sneak and eat.
Homemade?
While the game was going.
Homemade?
Yes. My lovely wife handed it to me off camera.
I sadly didn't get a chance to eat anything before we did this because I was editing my East 5 podcast that literally went up 2 minutes before we signed on to all this. So I'm a bit rushed. I might disappear at some point and get something to drink. I haven't even done that yet. We've got a corner coming up to the Crew, 4.5 minutes in just now. First real chance of the game. It's been end to end so far. It's been entertaining, which is what I was hoping for. After the year it's been, you don't want a boring game here.
Which of the teams last year was the team that was really playing it safe? Was it Toronto or Seattle? I think. Remember in last year's final?
Seattle.
I can't remember. It was
Seattle
Seattle.
has not been good in their finals.
Yeah, it was last year's final was not a good final. I went down for that. I think you guys all know.
Oh, right.
It was my first MLS Cup that I've been to.
Right, you were celebrating with your friends, right?
I was in the in the locker room.
Put on the goggles.
Trying to tell my friends back home. Yeah, I was actually in the dressing room with the players of the winning team, and they're like, "No, you weren't." I was like, "No, I was. That's just how it works in MLS." It's a very surreal feeling, even though it was the Sounders. It's a special moment that, it honestly is, even though it's a rival, to actually be in a team that's celebrating winning a cup, being in Vancouver and being an East 5 supporter, that's alien. Silverware.
Weren't you there in 2015 with us? Weren't you guys allowed to come in?
No.
With the M-Way?
No, because that was under the CSA rules. So that's like mixed zone and stuff. So media weren't allowed to come in. I would have loved to have been in for that.
I just had the pleasure of smelling the beer off Russell Tybert. Yeah.
Although I think
champagne or beer, whatever it was.
At the Women's World Cup, I do remember I spoke to Sydney Leroux after the final, who had a few glasses of champagne, judging by the state that she was in. Oh, clearance there by Seattle, just preventing Columbus getting a shot in. But yeah, Sydney Leroux had been doused obviously in champagne and had a few glasses as well. That was quite a fun interview. She was like, "Oh, I love your accent and stuff." It's like, yeah. So I mean, like, we've got somebody here that was in at the Whitecaps locker room the last time that the Whitecaps won any silverware. I mean, even when I was down at the Disney Classic, I didn't get to share the dressing room Mickey Mouse Cup feeling. So what was that? What was that like, Naveed? Like, as someone that's been involved with the Whitecaps for so long, as a player, fan,
Yeah.
worked for them, to actually be there when they finally lifted that first Voyagers Cup. I mean,
I think, yeah, it was a special moment for everyone, I think, in the club. And I mean, I think even for the fans. I mean, when was the last time they won an official title? Was it actually the 2007, like 2008 USL Championship before the Amway? Beside the Mickey Mouse tournament.
Oh, and aside the Cascadia Cups, yeah, it was.
Right, it was the official. So it's been years. So I mean, definitely a special feeling especially for the Canadian guys. I would think for Rusty and I mean, everyone was involved. It was definitely a great experience being part of it.
it was one of those things I think it's going to live long in the memories of all Whitecaps fans. But it does raise the burning question. We're going to look at a lot of things tonight aside from the game. Why has success eluded the Whitecaps so much? And obviously the easy answer is money. But you look at teams like Portland that came in the same time as us.
Right.
Seattle. You've got your rivals that what makes, I mean, we spoke about it in the show, so I'd like to hear Will and Naveed's thoughts on this. So I'll just cut off here as that's another breakaway here. I tell you, Seattle's having a lot of success up that left wing. Morris seems to be causing quite a lot of problems for the Crew, but before we get into that, are you surprised how open this game is so far?
It is. They're going all
end-to-end.
for it. Yeah, it is end to end. Yeah.
Especially
that's
after
what you
last
want.
year.
Yeah, there's been a few really shitty MLS Cups over the last couple of years. I was hoping that this would be end to end, and I think with these two teams, you've got this attacking talent. I mean, Zardes, give him a sniff, he's going to get some shots off, and then Rui Diaz, Ladero, and Morris. I mean, when you think of the Whitecaps and the lack of success, so many teams don't just have one difference maker. They've got a couple of difference makers. And this is what has eluded the Whitecaps for years. So, I mean, let's go to Will. We talk a lot on the show as to why we feel things have gone down, and it's easy to point the finger at money. But it seems to be the whole culture. What Seattle's done there is like they got success, but then they built on that success. They didn't rest on their laurels, and they're always striving for more. When all these teams are putting little X's beside their names when they had clinched a playoff spot, Seattle tweeted, "We don't do that because making the playoffs is the minimum expectation for this group." And they've made it every single year.
I totally agree with you. I think, the conversation becomes about money, but money is part of it. It's not the big thing. In my opinion, it's a commitment to winning. And if you run a club like a business, it's just not going to work out for results. You might, have a little run of success here and there, but ultimately, things are going to fall apart. I mean, even Zlatan said it when he was here, or not here, Vancouver, but here in the MLS. And he sort of said, like, you don't own a football team to make money, and I think that is part of the problem with the Whitecaps is their DNA, at least for the last 10 years or so, has been about running this like a business. And it's a business, but it's also a football club, and it doesn't lend itself to that kind of way. So that's my opinion anyways.
And I mean, Naveed, you were right in the thick of it. You were working the technical side, you're working under Robo, and yeah, Robo's got his detractors, but what he did with that budget.
That's, I mean, I could have a biased opinion here, but what I'm actually interested about is also like giving a point of view from you guys when I was working under Robo, I mean, obviously I had a different perspective of it than being right now as a fan kind of looking at it. But when we look at it and we talk about money, I mean, Yeah, obviously the Sounders are spending much more than the Caps, and Schmetzer has way more resources. But mistake me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm away from the team, and I don't have as much as inside in as I used to. But the last 2 years since like with the Fonzie money, I mean, they've been spending money on these
They
players.
have. They
I mean,
have.
I would be interesting to look into the numbers, like how much they've spent on all these players. Like, I don't know, like RAEs, all these players that they have, like, I wonder if it's like above 10 or between 15, like that. I don't know, like how much they've been spending, but
Well, I mean, you look at the players that they've spent money on.
right,
Obviously, it's Cavallini.
right.
Ali Adnan hasn't come cheap, but they've also spent money on Godoy. They spent money on Rank
Bomb.
Mbom, right?
Bomb as well. And obviously, they made a bit of a profit on
Ardais,
Bomb.
right?
Yeah, Ardais. I mean, Blondell even as well. They're going to have spent money on. And
The
so many
Spanish
of them.
midfielder, what was his name again? The central midfielder, that
Oh
came
yeah.
in.
Not Pedro.
No.
Johnny Ricci.
Like, I guess they've
Yeah.
paid a fee, I guess, too. So I'm sure, I wonder, I mean, I'm curious about how much of that money went, like from Fonzie's money, went towards actual like spending on the team. But from what I know and hear, they have spent money in the past 2 years.
Oh, they
In
have.
fact, and
Yeah, and
and I'm
success has eluded them.
that's like, it like completely blows my mind, like how they went from, listen, I don't want to say we had like we're very successful with Robo, but I'm just looking at, okay, the way we went, like what kind of direction we went since Robo left. It's really concerning to me. I feel like
Yeah.
we're not going to the right direction.
I mean, I'd love to get a chance to sit down with Robo.
Yeah.
One of my first questions I really want to ask him is, how does he feel that he kind of brought Fonzie on into the team? Obviously, it wouldn't have mattered, I think, who the
And
manager was. They would have done well with Fonzie.
right, but
Then he
to be
doesn't get the
honest,
chance to spend the money.
right. And I think he doesn't get enough credit, to be honest, with the fact that, I mean, Fonzie, yeah, obviously it's all about him. Like he did it all, it's all him. But managing the kid at the young age and actually like letting him become who he is, right? Like giving him the start. And I remember we really like protected him from media at the beginning a lot.
Yeah.
And
Well, sorry
we
to
know.
jump in, but look at
Yeah.
Baloo Tabla, who
right,
you know,
right.
like
Perfect
they were similar stories at the same time.
right.
And where's Baloo Tabla now? You know,
And I remember a lot of fans obviously wanted Fonzie to play every minute, every second. But so I mean, obviously this year's a tricky year with COVID and everything, so you can't really judge MDS. I think it's not even fair with everything that happened. But I mean, still, like some of the performances, man, like it's mind-boggling to me sometimes. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it is. One of the comments in the chat here from Bill Foy is this is in regards to like Seattle. In fact, actually, I'll just pause this because it's going to be a Columbus free kick here. It's weird doing this watch along because it's like I'm not used to keeping an eye on a game at the same time.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the last couple of minutes, Seattle are giving away silly fouls, and they're going to have to watch because Columbus can be.
How is that not a
tricky.
yellow card?
I know it went right through him.
Went through him and late.
Yeah.
Last minute.
I guess that at the same time, I do like to see things let go. But I mean, Columbus are looking pretty dangerous now. This is one of these games that I think if Columbus can get ahead, I don't think they're in the same position to do what Minnesota did, because Minnesota were dead in their feet in that second half.
Right.
This is two teams that's going to be pretty fresh. And I think Columbus going ahead, Columbus are going to manage this game very, very well. So I think that's why they're really going to try and get this early goal, because the thing with Seattle, though, it's a team that even when they're down 2 goals, like against Minnesota, I still, as a neutral, believe that they could get back into that.
Totally agree. It's
And the thing is with Columbus, they played a day before and no travel for them.
Yes, that's the thing as well.
I think it's disingenuous to call yourself a neutral when it comes to Seattle, Michael. But going back to what Naveed was saying, I think, yeah, certain people, certain elements have tried to, at the end of Robo's tenure and since he's gone, have have tried to portray his time only in one light, which we've talked about before on the show, and which I think is a very unfair light, especially in light of actually how football clubs run around the world. And but yeah, I mean, this summer, the day of the Champions League final, I just sent Robbo a message and just said, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for helping my club win the Champions League. You know, like,
True. Yeah.
I really appreciate all that you did.
I was trying to nip away for a drink there.
Oh.
And it's like, what a chance for Columbus. But what a save from Stephen Fry as well. I didn't see who get the shot. We're getting a replay here just now. But I mean, it's
I'll
just
let you know.
back.
I'm going to get.
It's Jizzy. Jizzy.
Well, you got the replay
boy.
before I got the live shot.
That was a. Oh,
Are you getting jizzy with it, Michael?
What's that?
You getting jizzy with it?
I was getting jizzy with it, but now, like, Seattle's coming up the other end, quick counter. Everything's going through Morris for Seattle right now.
Oh, see, the internet stream for TSN is about, because I got the live show right now behind me, it's about 30 seconds off or so. So in a bit, I'm going to turn off the camera and turn around the desk so I can actually see the live show.
I'm going to go back to turning my camera so I can finally go and get something to drink. Just you guys chat.
Wow.
Naveed, because you've had some experience on the inside, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to, Robbo and the club choosing to hire David Baldwin as a consultant to help them bring in players, maybe there's some things you can't talk about or prefer not to talk about, but like this is like, this is how many, if not most, football clubs run around the world. They have
and to be honest, I mean, apparently the club right now has a scouting department, from what I hear and what they're saying. Robo didn't have any resource. Like, Robo had to do all of, like, just literally like he was running everything. And to me, the biggest thing when I got the chance to work with them, and that was kind of like the first experience I had, like, in the professional, like, working with coaches. Like, I mean, in the past I was always a player, seeing how much responsibility he had. Like, to be honest, like, a lot of the things, like for training, for example, like, obviously his assistants were helping out, but he has so much stuff to do that he couldn't even focus on even like training, like setting up training.
Yeah. And MDS described to me the situation when he arrived. He said the cupboards were bare.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just like, that's bare because the people who own the house left it bare.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't Robbo didn't leave it bare. It was left bare by what was done on the Media Day massacre.
And we always knew, I mean, from my day, like, we knew once Robo leaves, it's gonna break. Like, everything's gonna fall apart. And what happened? I mean, we all know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be like a tough kind of thing. I'll get back to this comment I wanted to read from Bill Foy about Seattle, saying the fans are louder, the ownership is good, they have a great coach, and actual players with skill. So 4 pretty important things, really, that do help Seattle kind of stand out from the Whitecaps. But the other thing I was going to like tie in with that is it also comes down to scouting.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be like, even if you take teams like Seattle and Toronto and LAFC out of it, the big spenders, like Columbus, they're not big spenders. They're in an MLS Cup final. Again, their second MLS Cup final in 6 seasons. It all comes down to scouting and doing the right kind of scouting. And so many guys that we've brought in here have been busts. And you've got to start pointing fingers about that.
But I think, Michael, sorry to jump in, but I think that's also partly this commitment to winning and this commitment to running it like a business. Commitment to winning versus running it like a business. If you're like, hey, Robbo's getting players in and we're making the playoffs and we're not paying for a scouting department, why pay for a scouting department?
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair point.
I mean, the weight off the shoulders of MDS with Schuster coming in and this scouting department that's partly already here and there's more coming.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be huge. You still have to get it right tactically on the pitch, and that's something that's a big one. I'm sitting down with MDS for a chat on Friday morning after all the drafts and stuff. So anyone listening to this as well, if there's anything you want to know from MDS or any of you guys, anything you want me to ask him, just let me know as well. But yeah, it seems so different. But before can we get on to next? I just wanted to just talk a little bit about the game here. Protege 5 says that Zella Ryan is causing havoc, and he is looking the best player just now for Columbus, but Morris as well.
Funny that he mentions the Zelarian. I remember him. He playing when we went down to Mexico. He was playing for Tigres actually.
Yeah.
And he was a handful. I'm telling you guys. When I wish the Caps would have brought someone like him in. Seriously, he is something.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, why is Columbus a more attractive proposition for a guy than Vancouver?
Yeah,
it's like you've got a club that was going through shit,
pretty much.
Building.
Yeah.
A stadium that's fallen down. I know they're moving into this new one that looks fantastic.
And you compare the city, like
Columbus, the city as well. Like all year round, you can live here and have a good life. I know it gets rainy and it's a pain in the ass, but in general, like Vancouver is a great city. Maybe not so much in my neighborhood, where the place that I watch I walk my dog every night in the same kind of spot just after she's had her normal bit. 2 minutes from here, last night, there was a murder.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
What did the guy do to you?
we took her out, and it's like, oh, there's lots of police up there. And we didn't know what was going on, and then found out today there had been a targeted shooting. And it's like,
oh, jeez.
Yeah, 2 hours ago. And now I'm here and I go there every night. So changing my route a little bit, I think, possibly. But that's an aside. We cut that bit out of the podcast. But yeah, but like, why would Columbus be a better proposition? Is it just that those guys have kind of scouted things? Because, of course, Vancouver are getting linked with players, and they've been linked with a player that Nashville have apparently been chasing for a while. Nashville have its discovery rights. So it's like, to me, city-wise, I'd think, I'd rather live in Canada and Vancouver than Nashville. But seeing what Nashville did in the pitch, if I'm the player, I'm like, I want to go to Nashville.
How much have they been chasing him, though?
Well, there's that aspect as well. It's like you don't know if it's just been like putting feelers out, if it's been serious overtures. It's tough recruiting just now.
Obviously,
with all this. I was on a call yesterday with Josh Wolf and Claudia Reyna from Austin, and they were talking about the expansion draft. But I asked Reyna basically how.
Sorry.
Oh, someone's ahead of me. Because I was like, how are you getting excited? I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm just really excited about the expansion draft, Michael.
I thought that. It's like, oh, Austin. Well, the team that could have been Austin.
Yeah,
there you go. Your number 10 scores for all, right? Was that your number 10?
Yeah, Zella Ryan.
There you go.
Not the way I murdered his name earlier, but it's like, that was poor from Fry, who had just done so well with the saves earlier. And it's like, he's going to want that one back. Oh,
wow.
Taken well, but you've got to track that run as well. That's like Whitecaps defending. He just ghosts it at the back post,
and opposite of Whitecaps attacking too.
Oh
yeah. And then you've got the usual defender thing of, what the hell, guys? How did nobody track that run? I think he was your man. I think you should have possibly been keeping an eye on that. But now this is going to make for an interesting game.
Wow.
Because will Columbus just sit back now?
He should have got that though.
Yeah.
Oh, he should. He definitely should. He's going to want that back.
Dodgy flounder.
Fry's been so good for them, like over the last couple of seasons. It's
interesting.
Well, on that note, I got to sign off because I got to go to my other thing. But I will hopefully join you guys later.
Yeah, come back for penalties.
The result will be the same.
Yeah, just see if we're doing the stream. We might be doing the stream and I haven't found out how to end the stream. That's the issue I constantly keep having. So you could just jump on and do something yourself. But thank you for joining us anyway, Zach.
Yeah,
crappy late start. If it started at 5, we'd have got the whole first half in with you.
Yeah, it's always good to see you, Michael and Steve.
Great seeing you, Zach.
Naveed, it was special. Hope we get to do it again.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be having a quiz night with all of The five
really?
of us are going to be doing
Oh.
a special quiz night. We're just going to
Looking
sort
forward
the
to
date
that.
out. So everyone that's listening to this, I'm going to be the hostess with the mostess for this one. But yep, we'll speak
As
soon,
always,
Zach.
Michael.
Have a fun Secret Santa.
The secret is he's Santa.
He is. He's got the build, but we don't want to give that away. He actually dyes his beard white when he's not doing the show. So just the four of us now, we've got a better screen. That's going to be better. 5 kind of messes things up. Should go for 4 or 6. I like that they're showing this replay from all these different angles now. But let's talk about this cross that's whipped in as well. Now, that is something else that the Whitecaps seem to lack, is a guy that can send in deliveries like that.
Mhm.
And, I mean, that was pinpoint to the back post. I'm just going to see who that was, actually.
Was
I
that
rem-
Aful? No, who's Harrison? Oh, that's Roldan. He was a defender. Alex Roldan, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Roldan.
Trying to see who it was that whipped the ball in, number 20.
Well, I was 5. I think it was
Derek
Aful.
Etienne. It was Derek Etienne that sent
Oh,
it
was that
in.
Etienne?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like pinpoint delivery, but that run, it's like Etienne knows exactly where Zilla Ryan's going to be. Oh, I'm not even sure how much he got touched there. Get see a replay. Oh no, he got clipped.
Are you sure
Definitely
it was?
got clipped.
Are you sure it was that player? MLS has
Aful, I think.
a fool assisted
Yeah,
by
I
a fool
think
and
it was-
Aiden Morris.
Yeah, I think it was
Oh.
Aful.
Okay, so maybe that was another replay that would just show, but it looked like it was number 22.
It was 25, I think, too. That's what I thought.
Okay. It's a problem with trying to do this and keep my eye on the screen and all this other stuff that's going on. Well, like we're talking about Austin there. So like they're coming into the league next season. Everything else has kind of been delayed slightly. And we'll speak to Naveed about Sacramento in a sec as well. But I mean, you've got a market that's been good for soccer in the past. I know how they've got the team stinks and they kind of jumped ahead of a lot of people, but it has meant that it's kept the crew in Columbus.
Right.
And what a story this is going to be now if they have been kept there, saved by the fans, and can now lift an MLS Cup. It's like it's a heartwarming football
That'd be
story.
awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome for the
Totally
city.
agree.
That's for sure.
I mean, it's what you want to see just in football in general. It's a story that you don't get a lot of, like, really heartwarming stuff in North American soccer, especially in MLS. And this would definitely be it. But they've got a corner here. There's a chance maybe to capitalize again. They're dangerous with their corners. Seattle are struggling to deal with clearing the ball, and it's given like seconds to Columbus all the time here.
Seattle playing zone.
Possibly. They've not got Rui Diaz or Ladero in this match yet at all. Everything's been going through Morris up that left. They've obviously see a weakness in Columbus going and attacking their right side of the pitch, but so far they've managed to kind of hold firm. But yeah, just going back to Austin. So the expansion draft's coming up on Tuesday. The Whitecaps can protect players. Now, Glass City had a very good breakdown, I actually think, as to who he thinks going to be protected, who's automatically protected as being kind of the homegrown guys, and who might be left open. And I think it was pretty much spot on, because I'll just kind of bring it back up just now as to who he's got, because I really can't disagree with this. On the protected side, let me just bring this up. Here we go. So he's protecting, obviously, Cavallini, Adnan, Godoy, Ranko, Bikel, Owusu, Dahomey, Crepeau, Gutierrez, Nerwinski, Cornelius, and Tybert. Now, I think that's a pretty good shout as to who might be protected, but I'd maybe leave Cornelius like exposed, because I'm not sure that anyone's going to take him being Canadian. But the other one as well, I'll just break off here because it's another chance, and it's 2-0 to Columbus.
Oh my God, really?
Yes. And this time it is Derek Etienne, number 22. Oh,
But number one in our hearts.
he's definitely number one in our hearts now. But we do know,
Oh my God.
we do know that 2-0 is the most dangerous
Fortunate.
lead
Right.
in MLS soccer anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota showed that on that day.
Now, the difference in this, though, is I genuinely thought Seattle could come back because they were playing good football and Minnesota were looking tired. This is
Smart
not
decision.
that game. because Seattle do not look at the races right now.
Poof.
Seattle looks like they're just still like they're tracking in mud right now.
Yeah.
They're going through the motions. It doesn't seem like they were ready for this game at all.
Well, the other interesting thing is the Seattle defender that's kind of hung out to dry was Alex Roldan again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Roldan.
I was talking about Seattle targeting the right side of Columbus. It's like Columbus have clearly seen that the right side of Seattle's definitely at risk there just now. Well, this is going to make the last hour of this a lot more enjoyable if this kind of holds up.
Yeah.
Are they missing someone on the right back position, Seattle? Wasn't it the
They must, because Roldan's been more off the bench for them.
right? Who was
The only person I know of that right back might be Brad Smith. I don't know if he's with the team anymore.
He is. He
Is
is.
he?
Yeah,
I
he's on
thought
the
he
bench
was.
today.
I thought he was the right back usually.
he played left actually? I think.
Did he? Oh, I
Yeah,
thought he was
used
right.
to play left. Yeah, right was what was his name again? I think guy from Dutch. They brought him from Holland.
Oh, really?
Delem?
No, not Dylan.
No.
Let me just look him up.
Because Gustav Svensson's a key player for them as well, but he started on the bench again, but he's still recovering from COVID. But we're going to see what Seattle's made of now. They've got to up the tempo, but this plays straight into Columbus's hands now, because Columbus, with a 2-goal advantage, can afford to sit back and kind of soak up a bit of pressure and try and hit in the counter. But Columbus have played the better football overall. There's been a couple of quick attacks by Seattle, but they've been closed down pretty easily.
Sorry, Jovan Jones. He's not from Holland, but that's what
No.
I
Oh yeah, Jones. Yeah,
Jovan
but he
Jones,
plays.
yeah.
He plays attacking.
Yeah, he's
wide side
in
too
the
sometimes.
he's in the midfield today.
Oh, he's playing
back-
mid.
Yeah, he's
Was he
starting.
starting on midfield?
Yeah.
Oh, right. But he used to play right
I
back.
agree with you that he used to play right back.
Yeah.
He used to play right back regularly, and I think they moved him up the pitch.
Ooh, bad slice there.
But he can't be their starting right back, though. I think. Alex, well, there has to be someone else there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Roldan. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
haven't watched tons of their games in a close capacity of actually like
Yeah.
paying attention as to who's in the team. Let's have a look at like Roldan's stats for this season, because yeah, to my knowledge, he was coming off the bench. And he
Right.
wasn't even like coming off the bench in all the matches. Of course, it's a nice story having the brothers starting in an MLS Cup, but let's get transfer market up. Let's give them.
here's a
good
fun
plug.
fact. Did you know that Alex Roldan used to play in the VMSL?
I did not. Who?
Yeah,
With?
with the CCB.
Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense. They sign everyone, do they not?
Yeah, I don't know when this was. It was years ago. That's the first time I heard his name.
So Rodan
Yeah.
started the last game against Minnesota.
Yeah. He's played in all the playoffs games
Yeah,
for
FC
them, actually.
Dallas.
Where did the 2 goals against Minnesota come from? Were they against Roldan too?
I don't think so. One was off
No.
a set piece. I can't remember the other one.
I just
Interesting.
remember the Seattle goals.
Just jump back into the chat,
Yeah.
couple of comments here. Bill Foy sent another message just to follow up on what he said before, saying he just also wants to say that he is thankful for the Whitecaps, be it the Whitecaps or the 86ers, because they have provided great memories over the years and have not always been this bad. And I think for long-term fans, that is what kind of makes it a bit tougher.
Yeah.
I was spoiled because my first season watching them was 2008, as I said, Naveed. So it's like, I arrive here, they win a championship. I'm like, oh, I've made a good decision coming to Vancouver.
Well, Michael, I grew up with the 86ers winning Canadian championships
Yeah.
Right.
year after year after year, and they were unbeatable. You know, a different league, but obviously there's a tradition in Vancouver, and it's really sort of fallen apart in the last 10 years.
Well, we are a football city. And like I was having I buggered my shoulder up a few months ago, which they thought initially was torn rotator cuff, but now they think it's a frozen shoulder. So I've been going to physio. And then we just all of a sudden, because I was wearing a Whitecaps hat, the guy said, oh, Whitecaps fan. I was like, oh yeah, I got my own site and stuff. He's like, oh, what's your site? I was like, AFTN. He's like, no way. He's like, I'd read that all the time. I follow you on Twitter, which I didn't know.
nice.
But then we started talking about Whitecaps. And the point that he made was 5 years ago, the Whitecaps were in the position where they could have taken over this city. Canucks were terrible. Lions were terrible. Canadians, you've only got for that brief spell in the summer, as entertaining as it is, and it's changed now, of course, as well, because they're going to be longer seasons. But it's like this was the chance for the Whitecaps to do stuff. And we got to those playoffs in 2015 and 2017. And it's like, oh, I was nearly 3 for Columbus there. After the 2015 one, which was still a year, I hark back into this all the time. If Robbo's tactics had been different and we were more attacking and we'd gone for it, we could have been in the MLS Cup easily.
Well, that's the
That
year
was,
that
the Portland game,
Portland.
right?
Yeah.
Addy. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That
But
could have been our year.
Yeah.
But that's also the year Portland kind of snuck in, and that was the last year that you could kind of get by on that kind of building a club that way. And they talk about MLS 2.0 and 3.0 or whatever.
Yeah.
In some ways, that was the last possible year.
Because Robbo had got that group believing so much in their
That's
abilities. He
one
got them
thing-
playing at all their levels.
That's one thing I always, when I talk to people, throughout all the years that Robo has been, the guys would run through walls for him.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I
mean,
back in the first year in 2011 or 2012, whatever the first year was, it was 2011. That year, the Canucks were in the playoffs, and Empire Stadium was basically it was packed during the playoff run. So they could have built off that by itself, but they did bungle up those first couple of years as well, and that hurt them as well until Martin Rennie came in, and then eventually Robbo came in.
Right.
But just another point just to throw in there about the success, like in 2014, 2015, I'm sure you guys remember, but we were pretty close to winning the Supporters Shield as well.
Right.
He's not here anymore or on the chat, but Zach and I were planning TIFO for a cup presentation. So, I mean, to then go to where we are now, it's just interesting to think back to that only 4 or 5 years ago.
But that was the point, that the front office and the ownership should have said, okay, we were this close. We've got a good team. We have to build on that. And that's what the likes of Seattle have done. And instead we've gone backwards. We shouldn't be entering our 11th season and we're still rebuilding a team.
Yeah, it's...
And usually by now, like if you can say the rebuild started that first year after Robbo left, it should have had some kind of fruit that was showing. Like,
and I know it's not a huge rebuild this year, which in itself is also slightly worrying considering how we performed this season.
Right.
But there's not going to be massive turnover.
They have to get these new signings. These three.
They have to be correct.
If not, I can't see him. I can't see MDS.
No. Well, his contract's up at the end of this season.
Right.
So it's like they wouldn't have to pay him off. They would just not renew his contract.
Right.
And that's the problem. He's going to be a lame duck coach. So how much do the players listen to a coach that's in his final year of his contract?
I mean, I fully have faith in MDS as a coach.
Oh, 100%.
Because you don't become a bad coach overnight. I
met with Todd Donovan of the general manager for Sacramento Republic, and he worked with them in San Francisco with Mark DeSanos, and he spoke so highly of MDS. And I don't think MDS is really the issue, though. I mean, what can he do? Like, I mean, again, he brought those players in. That's the only thing you can blame him for. I mean, I sometimes question why we would spend all the money for a left back. Like, I still don't. With Ali, I mean, I don't know if it's still the perfect
you've
formula.
got a left back that doesn't really like to defend. I mean,
or
he's
that.
great when he tears forward, but your left back, you need to defend.
Exactly.
I think one of the things that infuriated me the most, and I don't know if you guys agree with it or not, is that because they weren't quite happy with Nerwinski at right back, they were playing their best center back as a right back, for the first part of the season. And I mean, now you have holes on both the left and the right, and you have some problems at center back because Kamiri just wasn't up for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll get back to this protected list in a sec, but just to go back to the game, I keep forgetting that I don't know how these watch-alongs are meant to work, because
What
apart from the
happened
one I
there?
was on, it didn't look anything to me. It just looked like a little kind of...
Did he flop? It
I-
didn't seem like anything happened there.
I
See at the
genuinely
replay.
don't think he caught him.
This guy get the Kendall Waston treatment.
I mean, Yamar can be
Oh.
pretty aggressive, but let's get a replay
Oh, here we go.
here. Little kick at the back, nothing much there.
Oh yeah. Pop in the
yeah.
nose. You can't
Ah,
pop. So.
There's nothing in that though.
I
It's
under-
just two guys
Okay.
battling for the ball.
We'll do YouTube videos, Michael, where I pop you in the nose, right underneath the nose, and
Oh, no, you're okay. You're okay with that.
and see if that how much you go down.
Oh, I'd go down worse than that. I'd be
Yeah.
screaming. I'd probably have a nosebleed by now as well. I'm not tough like these guys.
Yeah, I'm not saying that these guys like he didn't embellish it a little bit, but he definitely got popped in the mouth.
Yeah. It didn't look like there was much to it at all, but then it was a whack. I don't know that he should have gone down that much, but free
look at
kick
that.
floated in here, long range shot and over the bar.
So I'm caught up because I turned around my desk while I was had the camera off. So
'Cause
I'm totally caught up with you, Michael, now.
Perfect. I was just saying, like, I've never really watched a football watch along, so I was
Same
on
here.
one in the summer, and I really enjoyed it. And we talked mostly not about the game. So I don't know. Are we meant to talk more about the game? If folk that's watching this,
You
let us
can.
know.
No, I don't think so. I think you bring up the big things that happen in the game, but you can talk about any topic you
Yeah,
want.
there's already a play-by-play guy, so I think they
Yeah.
got that covered.
We're not
Yeah.
here to do play-by-play.
That's true. But my big disappointment, I was just double checking the crew. Oh, here's an Seattle goal.
Play
No,
on.
no,
What
it's
foul?
playing on. It was
I was going to say Seattle getting back to giving away the fouls. There's a spell there for 5 minutes where Seattle controlled this game, but it's because Columbus were letting them. Because
Well, early on.
yeah, they're letting them knock the ball about just now, but they don't seem a danger. Like Alex Roldan, for all the criticism that we've just given him defensive wise, he's being allowed acres of room though, tearing up that right wing. Because one of the breaks just a few minutes ago, no one was picking him up at all. And then Rui Diaz played the ball out to him. So he could be the danger man if they get him going forward, because he's obviously in for some kind of reason. But again, out to the left wing now. And it's just whipped in. And all the crosses into the box have been terrible from Seattle so far. They've just been getting mopped up so easily by the crew.
What a win that would be for Porter, huh?
Yeah. I said this in the last show, and I meant to check it out, and I never got a chance to. I don't know if this jumps out at either you two or Zach or Steve as well, actually, because you weren't on the show.
Yeah.
But if Porter wins this, is he going to be the first coach to win 2 MLS Cups at the same stadium, but for 2 different teams?
Ooh.
Well, you could be.
Could be.
I
yeah.
would for MLS for sure. I don't know about other leagues around the world.
For MLS, I could see that. Yeah.
That could be a trivia question coming up.
Might
Maybe-
stick that one in the
That's
quiz.
okay.
If I find out the real answer and it's not him, I'll put that in the quiz. Who was the first coach? Because I feel my knowledge of MLS in the early years is pretty nil. The very first MLS game I went to was in '97. I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh,
I
wow.
was on holiday in LA, and I'd just gone for a week. I just fancied a break, just gone through some just crap in my personal life, and I thought I just want to get away. Went on my own, spent a week in LA just before like New Year or before Halloween, so it was great. Everything Disney and Universal had all the Halloween stuff up, but it just happened to coincide with the Western Conference final, or one of the Western Conference finals, because it was played over a series back then between the LA Galaxy and the Dallas Burn. So that was my first experience of MLS. And to see how the league has changed from back then to now,
That's crazy.
night and day.
Yeah,
I
some of
mean-
the games in like I've seen them on replays and TSN. Obviously, during COVID, sometimes I'll see a clip of like a 5-10 minutes here, and they're horrendous looking games the way they're playing it and everything.
Yeah. But
Were
Was
they-
that the time where they had the penalties as like hockey, where you have to run towards the goal?
No, that was
Oh,
back
that
in the
was brutal.
70s. That was in
That
the
was
70s.
70s?
did MLS not have that?
MLS.
Yeah, the MLS had
MLS
that.
had that. That's what
MLS
I'm
had that
saying.
too. I didn't
Yeah,
even know
MLS
that.
Yeah,
I
MLS
didn't know
had
that.
Oh, halftime.
Well, that was a
Boy, that went
weird
by quick.
Yeah. All right. Since it's halftime, I'll get back to the game. Just what's your thoughts on that first half? Let's start off with Naveed.
Well, I'm not gonna. I mean, there's still 45 minutes to play, and you can't write off the Sounders. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I would
I
feel
think
that, but not tonight. I don't know.
no, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling that Columbus saw something that Minnesota did in that first game, and they're probably, I don't know if they're replicating it, mostly because I didn't watch the other game, but they must have seen something. But also the fact that I think that psychologically when a team has to put so much effort into coming back, and then you have to play
That's true.
6 or 7 days later or 5 days later, that's not enough time to recover from that epic comeback or whatever. Because
True.
it's the same when a team has to make up like a playoff run and they have to win every game, and then they win every game and then they flop in the first round. It's similar to that. You put so much effort into that end
Minnesota
of
game.
to get
Yeah.
back into it, and then you die at the end.
That's a
Totally
good
agree.
point, actually. Like, I mean, Naveed is a former player as well. I mean, is that how it feels like if you've gone through such an emotional, draining game the
Yeah.
game before? Is it hard to then pick yourself up in some ways?
Mentally for sure, but because this is MLS Cup final, I think the guys I think that shouldn't be an excuse. So, I mean,
No.
it's a final. Like
If
they're
you're not
gonna
up
go
for this, yeah.
if you exactly
Yeah.
if you're not up for but
I
I know
think-
where Steve is coming from though. I get it. Yeah.
But I think even subconsciously, I think the
Yeah,
players
yeah.
even realize it, that it's draining on them. I
Yeah.
think they'll just feel it, and they don't just have the whole legs or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
for their
Yeah. So
mental
physically,
capacity.
yeah, that could be true. But this is I mean, you would think they'll be up for it. But again,
So-
there have been so many times in the final, so I don't know if they're even up for it.
So, I mean, Will, what's your thoughts on that first half?
It did seem like Seattle fell apart maybe about 20 minutes in or 15 minutes in. So, maybe there was a bit of perhaps even a little bit of adrenaline off of being in a cup final and about, how things went in the semifinal. But it seems like Steve was saying, like they've either run out of gas or there's something that's been exposed. They played a game plan, and now Columbus is starting to come on the positive.
And the other thing is, it could have been a little bit of strategy too, because if you think of it, maybe they decided to take it a little easy in their first half to save themselves for the second, and Columbus maybe either recognized that or knew they were going to do that, and they just decided to attack right off the bat.
We've got a message in the chat from M and F Macaulay who say the Whitecaps are like the Sagrada Familia. Now, I don't get that.
I don't get that either.
That's like an unfinished church or something in Spain, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a great analogy then. I like that one.
Let me look it up 1 second.
I was going to look it up before I read it out, but I thought I'll just read it now. But yeah,
if that's what he's talking about, yeah.
I would kind of say then the Whitecaps are like, to use a North American example, the Winchester Mystery House, which is down near your neck of the woods, Naveed. Which when I visited that, I was fascinated by that. It was amazing. But
yeah, I haven't been there.
So what have you found out, Steve?
It's if it's the same thing, it's the Basilica de la Sagrada Familia, and the first line is it's a large unfinished Roman Catholic in the district of Barcelona, Spain.
Yeah, Barcelona's a place I always wanted to go. I bought my guidebooks, I'd planned trips, and then never ended up going. So at some point, hopefully, I will get there. But yeah, they're like that. They're like the Winchester Mystery House. It's like they keep building, but nothing ever seems to be finished.
So how many signings are he going to bring in? How many DPs is he bringing in?
He's bringing in 4 DPs. 3
3, okay.
No, 3 of the new young DPs that they're allowed to bring, and then 1 fully blown DP.
Fully blown.
You'll have
3 deflated DPs and 1 fully blown up.
We've had a few DPs over the years that have fully blown up and not been what we're hoping for.
3 starter DPs.
He's
all the young. Honestly, the young DPs, at least 2 of them definitely should be starters, if not all 3 of them.
So something like Mati Laba. Laba was a young DP, right?
At one time,
Mati was a young
back in the day, and in Bomb was a young DP,
right? Okay,
but this is this new new thing that MLS are doing to try and bring younger talent to the league. Now, this is also going to be an interesting way to look how the Whitecaps decide to do this, because there's going to be teams around MLS that use this young designated player rule to bring in top talent from Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay. Diego Rossi, Golden Boot leader. He's 22 years old. He would qualify under this. But then you've got Axel Schuster mentioning, we've been looking at a player, but it's going to take 39 weeks to bring him here. It looked like that then turned out to be from Morocco. So we're targeting Morocco for our young designated players. I'm not trying to be like disparaging about Morocco, because there's obviously good players all over the world. But it's like other clubs aren't going to be looking in Morocco. Now, maybe we will unearth this magical diamond in the rough. Robbo was always talking about going down to South America, trying to find the hidden gems. I think in world football, though, it's harder and harder.
It's hard. It's like a lottery. I mean, you got to do your homework, though. I mean, these guys, I mean, if
anything, like what FIFA 21 has taught me, it takes at least 18 days to scout somebody. So you got to put your time in. But I was able to find some hidden gems in my first year as a Whitecaps manager.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was about to say, like, it's always a crapshoot, and obviously, Naveed, I haven't been on your side of the equation, but as a supporter, it also seems to be, like you say, the research. You shouldn't be taking wild stabs at things either and rolling the dice. Like, I mean, going off the board, you might find a hidden gem, but you just might find a lot of dirt when you're digging around. So
of course.
And we haven't been highly successful at doing it so far. So
the thing is, I don't mind them when they go after like an RDS, because an RDS didn't cost them anything except for
in that price,
salary.
That price range, it is a hit and miss, to be honest. I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, this guy RDS was rated as like at one point one of the top 50 young footballers. So you definitely take a stab at that. And then you got so much content from the the mystery detective stuff with Michael as well with RDS. So that was valuable for us as well.
Yeah, but overall, considering with him in my hood last night, we could have maybe solved what had happened.
Yeah. So I think like that, those kind of things are definitely worth it. It's just you can't spend money and hope on a diamond in a rough. You have to get those guys for free.
Another one was Kudo. I thought that was quite an interesting move.
Masato.
It didn't work out, but it was an interesting move. He's been doing pretty well in Japan, and I don't think they spend that much money on him. So
the thing is, they should be able to use the whole Alphonso Davies example. Like, we got this guy, and now he's playing in the Champions
I'm sure
League.
they do that. I'm
they
sure
have to be.
And just follow their Twitter right now. It's all about Fonzie every other day.
And then they did a similar thing with him in Bomb too. They brought him in. He played for a year and a half, and then now he's playing in Russia. So they have shown examples that they can move people on. So they should be using those things as examples to bring in top players.
Yeah. I mean, the full-blown DP that they're bringing in, Axel told me it's going to be in the 8/10 position.
He didn't say within the league or outside the league. He didn't say that.
No, but I did get the indication it's probably from the outside. Now, the only interesting thing is, like, the MLS trade window opens tomorrow for a half a morning, and then it's going to reopen again. Axel Schuster has said, it might have been MDS, but I think it was Axel had said, look, we might be busy, but if we're not, there's always the next one in January. You look at so many teams around the league, and like Columbus is a good example. Nashville this year, I've harped on about so many times. They've got these quality MLS guys that maybe wouldn't go and light it up in the top leagues in Europe or whatever. But in MLS, they're solid and they get the job 100%. Done. And they know how to win. And they know about playing on different pitches. And they're going from altitude one week to the heat in the next week, and then all the travel and all the crap that goes with it. When you're bringing guys in from like Japan, Korea, like Morocco, Tunisia, wherever,
it's hard.
Like even guys from the UK and guys from Scotland that I speak to, they're like, this is way more than I was told about it.
Yeah,
it's way more than I even imagined.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember in 2015 when we brought in Jordan. I mean, Jordan was there longer, but guys like Harvey, Beta,
Mhm.
Those guys they're so valuable having these MLS experienced guys. Totally agree with you, Michael.
Whose telly is on?
Not mine.
Oh, mine?
Oh, maybe.
Did you guys see the clip of Garber today? Him talking about
Oh, no.
Kerfoot? I think it
No.
was on Twitter. I think he mentioned something about how successful Kerfoot and his franchise has been,
What?
and there's more success to come. Just look it up on Twitter, something like that.
Yeah,
Oh.
Glass City tweeted it. I didn't have a chance to watch it because it was on the chat here.
Oh, wow.
Was
I
that
check
like
out in a
during his
sec.
State of the Union address or something?
I don't
It's
know.
on
I-
TV. No, it definitely wasn't, because I was on that call,
No.
and that was a pile of crap, because this was one of the things I was going to talk about. So we'll get into that just now, since Donny G is on our TV as I speak. So it's a State of the Union call. There was 230 people on the call.
Wow.
So
Wow.
obviously you're not going to get to everyone. The chances of him coming to like AFTN to ask a questions diminished when there's 230 people on the call. Previous years, though, I have been picked to ask a question, because the Canadian content is very small. So it's like I'm one of the token Canadian guys they get to ask. But this year it was just Neil Davidson from Canadian Press as Canadian media that got to ask a question. But it's called State of the League. And you've got a lot of journalists from local newspapers on, and they're asking specific team and city questions. What's happening with the stadium in New England? What's happening with this thing to do with a certain team? That, to me, that's not what it's for. You do that on a localized call. Where was the questions about what's happening with the schedule next year? Are you going to be releasing a full schedule? Are you going to do it in stages? Is there maybe going to be a chance to have another summer tournament? The Canadian teams, could they have a bubble maybe where they can host some games initially and other teams come to them? Will they start off with all this Canadian stuff? What happens in different stages if there's a vaccine, if there's not? There were so many questions that went unanswered that to me were so important. And it was just really frustrating. You very rarely get the chance to put questions to Garber. I just saw it as a complete wasted opportunity. Rant over.
I think Christian Jack had some sort of conversation with him after.
He'll probably get to sit down with him as like TSN as the national broadcaster, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was just frustrated by it, because there is so much unknowns into next season. But we'll come to that.
Yeah,
And I've started a couple of topics that I haven't got very far with. So I'm going to go back to Austin. Oh, you going to say something, Steve?
Yeah, I got a thing from Greg Petrie. He said he's asking about from something you said earlier. Did Schuster say that DP would be a 10 or an 8 or a 10 who can play an 8? Because they really need to stop getting guys who are good at two positions and concentrate on getting guys who are great at one.
Yeah, he said an 8/10. So I think it's a guy that could play either position.
But I hope it's somebody that is a 10 who can play an 8 position if they need to, instead of a guy that is an 8 who can be slid up to a 10 if that's the requirement. I'd rather have somebody whose primary role is the 10.
That's the thing. Like Pedro Morales was our last proper number 10. Before him, there wasn't anyone. After him, there's not been anyone. Yeah. To have one proper 10. Now, Bustos could have done it, but he was way too young and inexperienced. Bringing the Pacific FC Marco Bustos into it now. If Marco Bustos was the player he was now, back when Pedro left, I think he could maybe have taken that mantle on. But now you need a way more experienced guy. You need a guy that's done it at the top level. But why have we never had a number 10?
Because they're expensive and hard to get, and everybody wants one.
Yeah.
But so are top strikers, and we splashed out to get Cavallini, but there's no point spending money on Cavallini if you've got no one giving him service.
Right.
True.
Right.
That's the thing. So, yeah, going back to Austin then. So the expansion draft is coming up on Tuesday. So I read out what Glass City's idea of the protected players were. So just to go through that again, because that seems like an age ago now. It was Cava, Tiber, Adnan, Godoy, Ranko, Bikel, Owusu, Dahomey, Kripo, Guti, Nerwinski, Cornelius. Exempt are Raposo, Bayer, Baldy, Hassal, Pasil, Metcalf, Bomer, Colline, and Fashioneri. So who Glass City was going to expose was Evan Bush, Andy Rose, Toussaint Ricketts, Jasser Kamiri, Brian Meredith, Milinkovic, and Montero. Now, I would be more inclined to expose Cornelius.
Instead
Maybe, well, I'd maybe want to bring Montero in. Because you've got more chance of maybe trading his rights or
I think that whoever, like, I think because he's not under contract, there's a better chance of somebody plucking up Cornelius. And I know that there's the Canadian thing, but if he's available, they can easily talk to like a TFC or Montreal and pick him up and then trade him off there. So this, if somebody likes him as a Canadian, just because it's Austin as an American team, doesn't mean that a Canadian team can't be interested in him and try to get Austin to pick and offer something for him.
And that's where I find Kamiri is interesting as well.
Yes.
Because maybe there was a choice there between Kamiri and Cornelius. At least, this isn't the official list.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you have
it's
to feel
interesting.
it's pretty
close.
as to what I would have picked as well. And I think there's not a lot of wiggle room in this list.
What the hell happened there?
Protect. I think that was just frustration.
What the heck happened there? It's like
8 seconds in and you're frustrated already. Is it
like, are they playing rugby rules where they just possession, like
they're kicking for touch?
Yeah, exactly. The thing about Kamiri is I think you're safe exposing him because nobody's really seen him play.
No.
Well, it was underwhelming in some of the games he played as well. He had a game or two where he was good, but he had some games where he really wasn't very good. But
I think you're only concerned if you're you only pick him if you know you're playing Zlatan Ibrahimovic a few times because he had. I think that's the only game he had good.
How many appearances does he have in his as a Whitecap?
I can probably count him on
single digits because
he was injured.
He made one in 2019. Yeah, I think he probably made 3 or 4.
And what does he have now? Because I don't remember really what happened.
I'll look it up.
Well, he got injured again. So that's the other thing. He's so injury prone that it's like at some point you just have to cut your losses with the guy and just be like, okay, it didn't work out. Yeah. Another guy that hasn't worked out.
Okay, I can't look it up. I don't know.
It's the frustrating thing. Yeah, I don't know. But
and Kamiri was another one that I felt MDS. You never know how much of this is true, but he seemed to be really high on him.
Oh, very
high.
Yeah,
they were pushing him for sure. Yeah,
he is, and it's like I was as well. The first season he was here when I watched him train. When he got back from injury at training, he was like you say you want to train how you play.
Right.
Oh, that was nearly an own goal there.
Yeah.
Did they make any changes at halftime? I didn't even notice.
That I don't know because I've got the sign down, obviously. But let me have a quick check.
Did Columbus realize they weren't shooting on the same goal in the second half?
That was a close one.
There's
2 subs at halftime. Svensson has come on for Jones, and Brad Smith has come on for Tolo.
So they kept rolled on back on.
But then, who knows? They might maybe move, or they could play Smith, I guess, in the midfield, or they might move Roldan back into more of a midfield role as well.
Be interesting to see.
But yeah, like obviously that list is just like Glass City guessing, but I don't think it's far off it. But Montero is a free agent, so they might just want to expose him anyway. I was on the call, as I said, with Josh Wolf and Claudio Arena, and Seattle's really going for it to start off this half.
Kamiri 6 games with Vancouver.
Yeah, that would one in 2018 and
3 in MLS Cup and 3 in regular MLS. Oh, MLS is back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely haven't seen him at all.
2 cards in 6 games.
I asked Reina, Claudio, not Jordy, as to if they'd had a lot of contact with clubs, because obviously in these expansion drafts, clubs are always like, well, is there a player you'd maybe like of ours? Because we'd like this guy if you can maybe take him. And they basically said, yeah, there's been chats, but fundamentally what they're wanting from this draft is they want 5 players at the end of it. So they don't want just like Gam and Tam, but they want 5 players that can be starters.
I could easily see a Bush in there. in the
Yeah.
mix if they're look like for a goalkeeper.
For me, that's the one that makes big sense. You've got an experienced guy. I know his salaries may be a bit hefty for them. That is the only
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
But I mean, you'd be getting a guy that when he came in at the end of the season with us, I thought he did really well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
liked him in Montreal. He's
Right.
been a union rep, so he knows his way around the league. He's a great. Oh, that's a forearm smash from Smith. But it seemed to hit him in the face, but he goes down clutching his nut. So that's a bit of an interesting one. I'm going to put that back. The advantage of
Oof.
having that.
Oof. Was that an elbow?
I'm just watching this
Oh,
again.
Caleb
no.
Porter's pretty mad.
I mean, it was a wild tackle from Diaz. Oh, yeah, he does catch him straight in the face. And the knee, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That's at least a yellow. That's
Yeah, you got a yellow, yeah.
That was just stupid. That was just, again, that's just frustration. I think we're going to see a bit more of that out of the Sounders players in this half. But Seattle started this half strong. They're really going for it. But you're going back to Bush. He makes total sense to me. Depends
Yeah.
what other experienced goalkeepers are out there, though, because they could also pick up Meredith for a fraction of the price, and he's been in the league for a while. Just maybe not a starter.
How much was Bush on? 300 or
It was
something like
300
that?
something. So I mean, who knows
Yeah, that's
now?
a lot.
That's pretty
Yeah.
hefty.
Yeah,
That is, yeah.
you'd want him in as your starter. So unless they've got a starting keeper lined up,
Right.
I mean, they might want to look at him as a starter. I don't know. That was the main reason I wanted to go on the call, because I was just curious as to what the tactics might be just for this. For anyone actually listening to the podcast, I'll play a little bit of audio now just from the call with Austin FC head coach Josh Wolf even. Oh, and also from their sporting director Claudia Arena. So here's what they had to say. But Austin is an interesting proposition for me. I don't think we needed another Texas team. But I mean, this is a good chance. Oh,
Boy, they're really
absolutely
going at 'em.
terrible camera work, but that was a chance there from Seattle from Christian Rodan.
So
just
I
heading
just want to give a message out. I think John Flynn is watching us.
That sounds eerie.
No, he's on YouTube. John O'Flynn. He's watching us on YouTube. He doesn't have TSN, so I've updated my name instead of my name. You'll see the score up there if he wants to know.
Oh,
Let's get updated.
interesting. Yeah, let's just see what other things in the chat here before we move on. So Brendan Demian says, I would love to keep Cornelius, but if he doesn't get minutes, I'd rather see him go where he can play for the sake of the Canadian men's national team. Totally agree. Yeah. I was surprised that they haven't kind of come to an agreement. They still might to put him out on loan somewhere, but he needs to play. A guy his age that's pushing to be in the mix of the national team, you can't be on the bench. You've got to be playing. Let's see what else we've got here. John O'Flynn says Seattle is known to be a comeback team. Any senses that is possible? Didn't feel like it at halftime, but they've certainly come out all guns blazing in this half. But they still haven't really forced saves. They've been close, but until they start forcing saves, I don't know. Get a goal back though, and I think it's a whole different ball game. I would then fancy Seattle to tie it up. Don't know how you guys feel about that.
Oh yeah, next goal is gonna be next goal is gonna change the game.
That's why the 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead, because if Columbus, if Seattle scores, Columbus is going to be on their back foot at this point.
MNF Macaulay says Flounders have come out on their front foot. Certainly have. Dennis Molag says, what minute are you on? So right now I'm about to hit 52:45.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm about 20 seconds behind you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Columbus had a Morris on their team. No relation, right?
No. Zach is posting in the chat. His Secret Santa is obviously going well. He shares that perspective on Derek Cornelius as well, that basically he should be getting minutes.
How old is Derek now? Is he
22,
23?
He's just about to.
I mean, a guy that age, you really
want him
have
to play.
to be.
I believe he is 23 because last time I checked my roster, he was 23.
How old do you believe Ali Adnan is?
On FIFA 21. Ali's 27 in the game.
Okay, just thought to throw that one out there. But yeah, so we talked Austin there. So let's get talking about Sacramento because we've got Naveed on. If anyone's just joined us, Naveed is down in Sacramento now. Spent time working with the Whitecaps, played for the Whitecaps in the past as well. What's the buzz like down there for the team?
Let me tell you this: Sacramento is a soccer city. I gotta tell you guys. Even in the USL days, I mean, still, but like when I moved here and then I went to a couple USL games, kind of reminded me like back to old Swangard Stadium. Like they had a big crowd already for USL level, and there is a big soccer culture. Like a lot of Latinos getting into the stadium. Like I think it's gonna be an interesting one here. But I mean, from the talks I had with what happened.
No, Reed. Yes, he's just gonna be. He's gonna sit there.
I don't think they're gonna be like an LAFC, or I could see them more of being like a Nashville. Like they're not gonna be a big spending team, I think.
Do you think San Jose maybe they'll be like similar to San Jose because they're so close to each other?
Yeah. That's gonna be a good derby, I think.
From a derby point of view, that's absolutely fantastic.
That's great. It's for Northern California. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I mean, how's it going to work with protection rights and stuff as well? Because surely they're going for a lot of the same players, but they're also going for a lot of the same fan base, you'd imagine.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah.
Like if someone's halfway between the two, because I've driven. We spent a couple of days a few years ago at Lake Tahoe.
Right.
So then we were driving from there down to Pacific Grove, just south of Monterey. Right. So we went through Sacramento. And I couldn't believe just really how close it is to San Jose. Then to get another team there, it just seems a little bit strange.
I think they totally they really deserve it though. Like they have a big history. Yeah, they've been in the mix for I don't know how many years now. Like to get into the MLS.
Yeah, I think they should have been in before now. And Austin basically stole some places, so that kind of pushed them ahead. When are they coming in now? Is it
2023? They actually moved it a year back now because of COVID and everything. So,
I've gone into their website. That rendering of their stadium
looks nice.
When you go in it, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks nice. I'm actually very excited to see what's going to
Hey, Michael, I have a quick question. I'm barely remembering this. What was the whole deal with Columbus versus Austin and who's actually an expansion club? Because wasn't there some dancing around there of who was actually the expansion club, that they were still moving the club to Austin, and so Columbus was technically the expansion club?
No, I think that was just something that was kind of put out there. That was never like Columbus. It was never a case that it was moving lock, stock and barrel and this was going to be the new one. So Austin is the expansion team. They've got Precourt as the owner, along with the likes of Matthew McConaughey, which immediately gives them star power. And there's a show I watch in the UK regularly. It's on a Friday. It's a live topical show. It's called The Last Leg. And they actually had Matthew McConaughey on it talking about his new book that he's got out, basically his autobiography, I think it is. And he was plugging Austin during that show. So he's a great person to have as your cheerleader. But Austin is the expansion team, hence them having the draft on Tuesday. But I don't like how they got the team ahead of others that I do feel like Sacramento were more deserving. But I am excited to see what they do. And it's a city I've always wanted to visit. As a big music fan, South by Southwest just really excites me. And I think they've got a fan base to build on from the Aztecs days. And I mean, they've been shafted a couple of times, the Aztecs in the past. And now you've got this team shafting them again as they were trying to get back going. But there's a fan base there. And I've liked what they've done marketing-wise. I like their crest. I like their colors, their strip design, everything that goes with that.
I think they brought in the right people too. Like Claudio Reyna is it's a name.
Yeah,
name.
He's a good one to bring in. Josh Wolf, though, as the head coach.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask.
I
was going to ask who the coach is because I have no... Was Josh Wolf?
Yeah. Before I went on the call, I actually had to look up to see what he'd done. He's been an assistant with the American men's national team. And he's played in MLS up to about 8 years ago, but he's never managed at a high level. And I think that's a little bit of a surprise, I've got to say.
For me, it's I don't have an issue with who they bring in as the first coach because the first coach is never going to last, especially nowadays. So why not just bring somebody who's young, maybe can grow with the team and everything like that, and then
He's got
eventually,
MLS experience. Like he's
So
played it.
Yeah,
he's been an
knows
assistant
it
at DC, and he was an
Exactly.
assistant actually at Columbus as well.
So the thing is, I would for an expansion team, because you're going to always get the initial excitement anyways. There's no point of bringing in a big name coach initially. You could let the team grow, organically and everything like that. And Austin's going to love that, growing organically because they're kind of that kind of city. But then you bring in that big head coach for that second one or if Josh Wolf exceeds your expectations, then you have a great coach that you grew with.
I mean, I guess I was going to say you could kind of look at it the way that Cincinnati did it, but they went through a couple before they got their big name coach.
That's what I'm saying.
But maybe Cincinnati's not a great example of an MLS club to hold up for things. But that was a great chance there for Columbus to take a 3-0 lead. I don't know what's up with the camera work. I am not liking this camera work from corners at all.
Oh, this is Fox, man. This is American. Like they overproduce everything.
So we've got 2 subs now coming on. Paolo is going off, and guy that I wanted here for a number of years, Will Bruin, is coming on.
Same. I would love him to be.
He's your typical MLS striker that gets goals.
Exactly.
Like he's not a sexy guy.
No.
He's not a big name player. He knows how to score in this league.
Like that goal against Minnesota. That was a scrappy goal.
I remember.
Clutch.
I remember, if I'm not mistaken, when I first did those blogs that I initially did when I first started. I think I did a mock draft for their Whitecaps' first ever draft. I wanted them to pick Perry Kitchen for their first pick, and I wanted them to take Will Bruin for the second pick. That was what I was looking for.
That would have been good picks.
Yeah, I know. Well, looking back on it, yeah, great.
Yeah.
But because I honestly thought that who was it? Ormo Salgado. I thought he was. I didn't like the look of him and everything. There's something about him that I wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah, that for here's another chance for Columbus. Oh, whizzing past the back post. I mean, Seattle's having to go for it now, and they're just leaving gaps at the back that Columbus looks set to exploit any minute, really.
Hey, where is Darlington Nagbe nowadays?
He's injured for this one. He's at Columbus.
Oh, he's with Columbus. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember. I forgot.
I thought it was a spoof tweet initially saying that, oh, he's going to be out. There was another one of their big guys that was out as well, and I was like, yeah, he's not out, but no, he was on the injured not available list, which, considering you've got a guy like that missing, and then you're playing like that as well, but that's Diaz either has to get that on target or Jizzy just has to dive in with that foot and just try and get something on it. It's those kind of misses in games that, like Seattle going up the pitch there with a chance. Oh, someone's limping there for Seattle, and they've made 4 subs already. Oh, it's Roldan. Don't know if they took a knock from this or if it's something that he's carrying already. He seemed to pull something taking that shot there. That would be a big loss for Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be abductor, maybe.
Let's see.
Definitely holding his side.
How many subs do they have? 5 in this
5,
window?
so they've made 4 already now.
But over 2.
They're allowed three windows, so it's like they've got 1 more sub they can bring on.
Well,
who was the other one that came on?
I know Roldan.
Alex Roldan went off, and Kelvin Leardam came on.
Maybe they'll be the first brothers to be subbed off again.
Making history all round. All right, interesting stuff. Let's have a look, see if there's any more stuff in the chat. I'm getting the swing of getting through all this now. Let's see who else we've got here. Oh, John O'Flynn's possibly watching the game now. He's found it on Fox TV on Telus. I was going to say to him, because it's on Fox, I think it's going to be on the main Telus channel as well.
Right.
Wants to know if there's any Canadians on the field at the moment. No. As far as I know, I don't think there is. Protege 5 says F1 track in Austin too. I didn't know that. They've got a Formula 1 track there.
Interesting. The thing I always think of about Austin and football, other than them going to Orlando, is when they were in the USL, it's perhaps the worst stadium that I've ever seen. That it was like a college or a high school field that they were playing off. And there was like 4 sets of lines that were all different colors. So like field hockey, and like it was it was so distracting. I couldn't imagine if that was easy or not to play on, but just as a supporter and someone watching it, it was like I couldn't follow where it was out and where it wasn't, or where the boxes were.
I haven't had a chance, actually. I don't know what the rendering's like for Austin Stadium. I haven't looked into that. I need to do that. Matty Finney says hi. He's in Canada. He's a Barcelona fan. Thank you for joining us, Matty. Great to have you on board. Jonah Flynn says, Steve, any Canadians on the bench? I don't think there is.
I don't think either one of these teams have anybody.
No, the Canadians didn't make it through. We could have had Dane St. Clair for Minnesota in goal, playing against Tajon Buchanan for New England Revolution if the finals and the conferences had gone different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a great season for Tajon Buchanan, showing that you can be another dangerous ball into the box from Columbus there, showing you can be a Canadian playing in MLS and you don't have to be with a Canadian team. Mark Anthony Kaye, another great example of that. The rumours still float about. I don't know if it's just wishful thinking or if it's genuine, like this has any legs, that Mark Anthony Kaye could be a guy that the Whitecaps bring in here.
It's going to cost them quite a bit.
I don't see that happening.
I
mean,
would break
I'd love
the
it to
bank to
happen.
bring him here. Seriously.
So
I
you'd
would
make
break
him
the
a
bank to bring him
DP?
here.
You make him a DP then?
A full DP?
I don't know that we would need to, but it's what we'd have to give up to.
Give
I'm
up.
talking about breaking the bank. It's what we'd have to
Right.
give up to LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I bought him.
Because,
I bought Mark Anthony Kaye for FIFA 21.
oh, I thought you meant for the Whitecaps. I thought this was a little
for the
Christmas present
Whitecaps.
you're announcing.
Just opened up your wallet and.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a DP though, right? That's what I'm saying.
No,
he
he
would
would
definitely be a TAM player if there's still TAM players available.
because they haven't released what the salaries are for 2020. Let's see what Mark Anthony Kaye was on. He got a pay rise, so this isn't a great.
But this is a classic example of course, we'd like to have them, but it's not like going into a shop and buying a Coke. It's like the Coke has to agree to come as well, and the store has to agree to sell the Coke.
Well,
he would be a great fit though. I mean, he knows MDS too.
He speaks very highly of MDS. That should have been better from Columbus there.
The thing is with the Galaxy is that the clearly I don't know if they'll still understand it, but they clearly got to understand that they need to spend some money on their backline, and Mark Anthony, they don't need that many players in the midfield. They spend a lot on the midfield right now, and so they need to rehash the backline. I think if they had Walker Zimmerman, I think they'd be in the finals possibly this year.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Kaye at the end of 2019, his base salary was 166, guaranteed compensation 177, but he did sign a new deal. So I don't know what he's on for 2020.
My guess would be he jumped up to maybe 250 to 300.
Yeah,
my guess.
He's captained them and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, you've got to remember though, Will, the players don't have a lot of say in a number of clubs as to where they go. Now, when Evan Bush came here, what he said was Montreal sat him down and said, look, Vancouver want to bring you here. You've been with us for, 9-10 years? You're loyal to us. We want to give you the chance to say, do you want to go? And he said that's how all clubs should operate in MLS.
Yeah,
and I feel they should. Because if you treat the players with respect, then they're maybe going to go, well, I'd like to stay, but thank you for giving me that option and discussing things with me. Yeah, I will take this opportunity. But as we've seen with the Whitecaps over the years, and there's other teams as well, and guys that we've brought in, they just get moved on and here's a chance for Seattle, just break off. It's like when Breck Shea came here and he was talking on his first day at his scrum and he's asked, when did you find out about the move? And he's like 10 minutes before you guys probably did. And my wife found out when everyone started tweeting the news. He hadn't even got a chance to call his wife to tell her.
I guess
that's not how you operate.
I guess that's also the difference a little bit with MLS than some other places in the world where the MLS it is much more of a single entity, right?
Right,
So places like England or other places, the players do have more say, but still the other club has to agree. Like you can't just sort of fantasy book. So to use a wrestling reference, it's really easy to say, well, we got the money, we could just buy this person, but it's also the other club has to agree. So a good point, Michael. In this case, the Coke doesn't have to agree to come, but the store has to agree to sell the Coke, just to continue on with my metaphor for an
that was kind of why I was meaning the Whitecaps need to try and break the bank. It needs to be one of these bumper deals. I think Key would maybe be interested in coming, especially if LAFC maybe try and strengthen the midfield this off-season, because they need to strengthen, because they didn't have a good season that lives up to the standards that they want. So he speaks so highly of MDS as well that it might be a good one.
So former Cap, Laura Brenton mentioned this in the comments down below, and I looked it up. On Instagram, there is a post of Kai Kamara's family getting COVID tested. And in the comments, he makes a comment to somebody where somebody mentions, is that the way they do it in the States? They don't stick that thing far up our noses here in Canada. And he replied back, says, we are moving back to Canada.
Interesting.
Kai Kamara. So is he just moving and making a permanent move here, or is he coming to play here? He never announced a retirement, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you have to think, if he was coming to a Canadian club, where would he fit in? Could Kamara and Cavallini play together?
Or would he be a good backup for Altidore?
With the kind of murmurs that some people were putting out about Kamara when they were wanting him to leave, he's not going to come back to Vancouver.
No, not for sure.
Those murmurs weren't true either if you speak to the players that were involved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like he was good in the locker room. It's like that everyone says he wasn't good in the locker room and he was disruptive. You speak to the players that were on that team and they say, no, that's not the case.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that the people making those, they were saying those comments people were making about him being disruptive weren't true.
No, Kai was excellent in the locker room.
The thing is also, he did make
Seattle's chance.
He did make that tweet as well before, where he said was it Sporting Kansas City? He was mentioning how there are two former Whitecaps still alive in the playoffs or something, with it being Eric Hurtado and himself or something like that. So he did make a dig at the Whitecaps too. So I definitely don't think he's coming here if he's coming.
He also does like to do a bit of teasing on social media.
Yeah.
Now, Thierry Henry has said numerous times on his recent conference calls that he needs an out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
There's your out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
But does he have enough in his tank to be a starter? Because Henry needs a guy that's going to start. Because he wasn't starting for Minnesota.
No, but if he wants to bring in a number 9, he's going to need a backup for that number 9. And why not do a Kai Kamara as that backup?
Maybe he's just got some loose ends up here that he's just trying to tidy up, or he's coming up for holiday.
It doesn't he speak French? I don't know what the official language
in Sierra Leone. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
that might be French. Yeah. I think you could be right.
Or there's the option for CPL.
Is he reuniting with Pa?
Right.
Oh, that would be a great sideline. That would be a great sideline.
That would be what a signing for the CPL that would be.
Right.
I would book ferry tickets immediately for each of the games once the schedule came out.
I wouldn't. Not until all this COVID stuff dies down.
Well, obviously then. Hopefully it's done by then.
Yeah, Sierra Leone is a multilingual country. English is the de facto language, but there's a number of other languages that are spoken there.
Oh, okay. Probably Dutch, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't read anymore.
Okay.
Here's another chance for Seattle. Like Seattle's getting closer and closer now, but you've got some last-ditch defending from Columbus. Columbus are starting to look a bit tired at the back, actually. I hope this is not going to be another Minnesota thing. Zach sent us a message in our AFTN WhatsApp chat saying, this better not end 3-2. This is, like, if you're a Crew fan, I think this is a bit worrying. Another chance for the Sounders. You've got to get that on target. Gustav Svensson had a chance to come off the bench and make a name for himself again. Wow, he just rose above everyone there. I tell you, Columbus are looking shakier and shakier at the back now, and they look dead in their feet, actually. These subs that Seattle's brought on have really, really brought a spark to this team. Interesting stuff. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. Thank you everyone for watching. Get a message into chat to us. It's like, really want to hear from you. Protege5 says yes to K. It's probably fantasy booking, as well said there. What he could do for our midfield, though, would be fantastic. And like, in all seriousness, I would be concerned about having way too many Canadians. That's a core of the Canadian national team.
For international reasons?
Right, for the way that MLS doesn't honour the international calendar. And with all these games that's coming up thick and fast and 4 windows, where they're going to be having 3 game windows during these 4 windows, you'd be losing a hell of a lot of your team if we keep adding Canadian internationals. That's always been my concern. I remember asking, I think it was MDS actually. It might have been Robbo, but it was one of the two of them anyway. I was like, are you not concerned about all these players going away on international duty? And the answer was, oh, well, we'll deal with that when it comes to it. And like, I'd be thinking about that now. I'm always thinking ahead, and I know a lot of the coaches, at least publicly when they speak, they don't want to think ahead. It's just one game at a time and doing all that stuff. But you've got to think about stuff like that.
I know, but you can bring Canadians at different levels where there are like maybe 2 or 3 that are national team level, and then you bring 2 or 3 that are maybe just on the cusp or something below. So you can still do it. It's just you're right. You can't bring everybody at that top level. A guy like K though is worth bringing in and losing for those couple of weeks if they need to. He's a guy that can settle down the midfield. Like, even if you don't have a number 10, which I'm always thinking they probably won't get every offseason, he can do those kind of things where he can be like that deep playing midfielder and be a defensive good. Like him and Baldissimo, I think would be an excellent combination.
I agree with that, totally.
At the
That would
back,
be great.
behind a guy that could be a number 10.
Right.
This game is really good. This is still going end to end. Crazily.
This is way better than Seattle playing Toronto last year.
Yeah, it's just so nice that it's at least one different team in the final. It'd be even nicer if it had been 2. But I mean, what are you making then of these last 14 minutes? The longer it goes on without Seattle scoring, I mean, Columbus are home and dry, but
that's what I thought against Minnesota, and I stopped paying attention. So I don't know, man. They are like attacking though, but the thing is, here is I don't feel
Minnesota had stopped attacking though. That was the thing. They were just soaking it up.
That's the difference here. I don't think Columbus has lost their legs or anything like that. I don't think they're.
No, Columbus is starting to push back in the last few minutes.
I don't feel like they fear Seattle. I think Minnesota probably started fearing Seattle.
So Neil's going off. Shannon Neil's off. Jimmy Medranda coming on. It's a last sub for Seattle. More fresh legs as they go for this. Have Columbus actually made any subs?
I think they made 1, but I'll double check that for you.
No, they haven't.
They haven't? Oh.
No. Wow. No wonder they're looking tired.
Right.
Yeah, but they are pushing back though. They're playing a lot in Seattle's zone.
I mean, they have been hit with like COVID issues. They were missing some of the games during the playoffs. So, I mean, there's going to be guys that are maybe not up to full match fitness. This is obviously the first choice starting 11 from who's available that Porter has. And I guess you don't want to start disrupting things, but at some point, he's still got 3 windows left that you can make these subs, and it's going to split the game up and kind of kill the game off a little bit. That's kind of what I think he's needing to do.
They do have decent players on the bench, players I actually recognize, like Hector Jimenez, Emmanuel Boateng. I think he's good. Christian Nemeth, if they want to play somebody up top. Fernando Adi, former Timber.
Adi.
So they got some players. Waylon Francis, I think I've heard of him before.
I know Zach will be listening to this later, but remember when Zach picked Adi to be the Golden Boot in 2019?
Was it the year he was in Cincinnati?
Yeah. And then did he not crash his car or some weird thing happened? And then, And then he ended up going to play for a bit in USL, I think, and then he's come back into MLS. It's when you consider what he did at Portland and how his career trajectory is going, that's crazy stuff, really.
Yeah.
I had a whole list of topics we were going to talk about, like non-MLS stuff, but we haven't really got to any of these. So we'll save some of these for a future show. A lot of the teams are going to be releasing like who's protecting stuff for the expansion draft very, very soon, Sunday and Monday. Trade window opens in MLS on Sunday for half a day. Or is it Monday actually for half a day? No, I think it's tomorrow. Let's just have a 13th. It's the 12th today, yeah. I'm a bit lost. Haven't been in at work for the last couple of weeks, so when I'm not in work, I have no actual thing to kind of like guide me as to whatever the hell is going on. So you half day trade window December 13th, expansion draft on Tuesday, waiver draft and free agency opens on the 16th. Then it's re-entry draft phase 1 on the 17th, and then re-entry phase 2 on the 22nd. There's been some interesting players whose options haven't been picked up. I won't go into them just now. If anyone's been paying attention to that, or if anyone's watching, is there anyone? Oh, now did that? Was that tipped away, or was that off the bar?
No, that was tipped away. I could have sworn I saw his hand move forward.
No room for error. It's a great save there by the Columbus keeper. Morris again. Morris has definitely been Seattle's best player. Rui Diaz and Ladero have they've not been in this game.
Yeah, not been clicking at all today. They're not there.
That's a big surprise to me. I mean, everyone's talked about the threat of them all season long, but it's just been nothing there. But I mean, yeah, was there any players that you've seen whose options weren't picked up? I don't know if you paid much attention to it.
I saw Kendall didn't get.
Yeah, I thought that was on the cards.
Yeah.
Yap Stam arrived and I was on his introductory press conference and I was like, you've got an international centre-back there,
right?
Boston. What have you made of what you've seen from him? And as a centre-back yourself, do you feel you can help bring his game on? And it was not a positive answer. He was basically like, yeah, I've seen them play. There's aspects of the game that he really needs to work on. And you're like, oh, that's not glowing for your report of Kendall. I don't think you're going to be here for too much longer. Maybe he's asked to get released as well. I don't know, but I thought the writing was on the wall for him.
I didn't check the scene. Wait.
Oh,
sorry.
Game.
Nice goal.
Set. Match.
They scored.
It's over.
Yes.
Game over.
Was it Zilla Rayon again? Oh, the build-up play.
Yeah,
I need to see this back because the build-up play was amazing.
There you go.
This is Seattle leaving room at the back.
This is the part I hate about these guys overproducing. I don't care about the people in the stands. I don't care about the opposing players. Just show the celebration of the goal. That's the most important thing. You can show fans, like when they show World Cup replays, that's when they show the fans in the replay, not in the live going on. I just don't get it.
Zilla Rayon again, man of the match.
And this was your number 10 again.
It was Etienne again.
And he wears number 10 too.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously been the big difference maker for Columbus today, but Etienne, I think, has had an outstanding game. I know we said this earlier, so pleased for Columbus and their fans, and just...
It's a great story coming back from the whole Save the Crew and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare that you can really get a whole two countries, really, a whole continent united behind you. But the Crew managed to get that done. Even Cincinnati fans didn't want them to move and stuff. I mean, that was great to see. You've had obviously things like the Black Lives Matter. Everyone's united about that. And it takes special moments. And this is definitely a special moment. And now Porter's just going to start making his subs and just killing everything off. That's what you need to do. It's like in the East Fife game today against Peterhead. Peterhead went down to 10 men for the last 23 minutes. They just rotationally kicked people to break the game up and give fouls away. That's what you need to do.
Sorry, Peterhead, weren't they redundant when they named that team? Or sorry, Michael, I just had to steal that joke. I'm sure someone said it before, but
they're mostly known for prison and fishing. Yeah, it's one of the big prisons there. And on a damp, grey day with no fans in the stadium, in a grey stadium, it looked like we were playing in the prison. And to be fair, he's 5 put in a criminal performance.
So are you saying, Michael, when you think of Peterhead, think of prison and fishing?
I do. We've had some fun up there with their name and various issues as well over the year. But keep that name in mind, because that could be something that comes up in the quiz that we do.
Ooh.
Depends if you get the luck of the draw and you get a round where that's going to come into it. Just letting you all know that now. And it's not about Scottish football, so don't worry. What the hell happened there? I took my eye off the screen for a second. There's 2 players writhing around on the deck. And some guy looks to have done his shoulder worse than I have. Oof. Let's go back to that. You have been terrible today, Rui Diaz. Oh, yeah, they've both done their shoulders. I'm relating to this. I'm feeling this pain, or I was just in pain to start with. What happened there? Diaz and Smith? How on earth did they both hurt their shoulders there?
They slid on the ground?
Oh, he's tugged his shoulder back, and then he's
landed on his shoulder.
Oh, yeah,
Diaz.
jeez. They both landed really heavily on their
Oh,
shoulders.
yeah, he's don't read lips, kids.
I'm feeling every bit of that. My shoulder just got hurt with my dog pulling on her leash when I wasn't expecting it when she saw a squirrel.
Oh.
And when I went to the doctor, he's like, yes, we see a lot of people with these injuries. It's like, yeah.
Oh.
This is why you're goodwill with your cats. They don't do stuff like this to you. Oh, boy. Let's see if there's any more stuff in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I know some folks messaged me saying they're going to watch this later on. John O'Flynn saying, make some subs, Columbus. Yes. Dennis Molag, tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific. That is when this half-day draft opens up. I'm hoping that if the Whitecaps aren't active, the fans aren't going to start going up the wall like, what's happening? Why didn't do anything? It's a long off season. Now, Garber was asked when he was targeting the new season to start, and he's still targeting mid to late March. That seems a little crazy for me, just the way that things are going down in the States just now. I know we've got a vaccine, but there's been all this talk, of course, with the NHL seeing if they can maybe try and buy it privately. I don't think sports teams and sports clubs should be getting the vaccine ahead of the general population, even if they do deals.
Totally agree. Yeah.
It's like, that's just ethically, that is not right.
Not right. Yeah.
We're all massive football fans, but there's things way, way more important than that. You've got to get the vulnerable with this vaccine before sports teams gets it.
Right.
I mean, if we are looking, Seattle's come close so many times, but like, I'm going to check how many saves have Columbus had to make, because it does not feel like he's even had one to make.
Been a few here and there.
Seattle one on target. One on target for the whole game.
I think that's the one that you said did it hit the bar or not.
Oh, it will be because he tipped it on.
Yeah.
Wow, if that's their only shot on target, that is shocking, because that was about 70-odd minute mark.
Oh, Fataya Lash is also there in Columbus. Oh.
Yeah, Porter's played this game to perfection. It's like, I have not been a big fan of Caleb Porter, the person, over the years. He's kind of hard to warm up to. I feel it's just his persona. You can't knock what he's done as a manager, though.
He's great when he wins.
Yeah. Schmetzer, I'm pretty sure, is going to be magnanimous in defeat as well, because Seattle's just not been at the races today.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a Canadian connection for Columbus. Pat Onstead.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I thought that was going to be 4. Oh, I'd like Zardes to pop one away here. I think he kind of deserves a goal as well.
Agreed, yeah.
just he's been one of those guys. Like years ago, I'd said, "Oh, would you be interested in maybe picking him up from the Galaxy and bringing him here?" And folks like, "No. He's another serviceable MLS player. You're like Kamara, your Zardes, your Will Bruin. These are players. They're not exciting. They're not going to sell jerseys. They're not going to put bums on the seat. But these are the guys that can get the job done in this league."
So going back to your question, Michael, was there anyone that was left or contracts weren't picked up or were out of contract that you were interested in?
There was a couple of interesting ones from the LA teams, and off the top of my head, I can't think. Like Bradley Wright Phillips.
Yes. Oh, really?
Has not been picked up. Now, if you're going to bring an old veteran back, and you're talking like Kamara or something like that, and you want to bring them into your team, I would bring Bradley Wright Phillips in. I know he'd maybe be coming off the bench. To St. Ricketts didn't have the season that I was hoping he was going to have. I know there's been injuries there, but you've got Cava starting, and you bring BWP off the bench with Montero gone. To me, that would be good. His salary may be prohibitive, of course, as well. I think he's going to be a free agent, though, so some team's going to snap him up.
Matt Beasler was also out of contract. So.
Yes, Beasler.
That's interesting. That's another one. I mean, I think I saw Glass City talk about this, but Greg Garza was somebody that I know that we had gotten pretty close to a year or two ago.
Now, the rumours were that he was going to come here, and then because it leaked out, who was he with? I was with Atlanta. Atlanta pulled out the deal because it had leaked. That was the rumours that I was told.
Was it Glass City that leaked it?
I think he might have actually, but it's if that is the case, Garza coming here instead of Ali Adnan, I guess. I'd rather had Garza. I'm surprised he's a free agent though, because it hasn't quite worked out for him.
No,
I've got to say.
And he's getting a little older. Was he 34, 33, something like that? I mean,
I talked about this in the last show with Zach, so I'll get your guys' thoughts on it as well, since we're kind of nearing the end here. Do you have concerns about how young the Whitecaps are? Now, I asked Axel about that, and he's like, it's not necessarily age, it's how you perform. But we've got 14 players under the age of 23. I know some of them's probably going to get loaned out. We've got 3 young DPs that we're bringing in. I feel we need some older heads in there, some veteran experience in the key roles, leading the locker room. I'd like a more veteran presence in the back line as well. Ranko and Godoy's maybe a great partnership in the making. I'd like a veteran centre-back in there somehow.
I agree with you, Michael. I think what you're saying is I think veteran leadership is really important. I also think it's experience within the league. And so, I mean, they've brought in some veterans like Pedro and stuff, but they did also lack some of that experience within the league. And I think we're missing the veteran leadership, but also the knowledge of the league as well. And obviously there's Rusty and a few people that have been around for a while, but I don't think we have enough of that.
The problem with getting veteran leadership in the back line, Eric Godoy is like 27, 28 years old. Like, he's not a kid, so he should be able to provide that veteran leadership to the younger guys. My thing is that they got to get the right older players. I don't have a problem with them being young, as long as they have the right older players in every kind of level of the team. A good older attacker, a good older midfielder, a good older defender.
We've missed that experience in the middle.
Yeah,
we showed Mikel for me just didn't.
That's 100%. It's the midfield presence that you need. Not the elderly, but the veteran leadership in the midfield, because that helps you attack and it helps you defend.
Didn't Henry have a great line about people keep on saying that I'm not a veteran, I've been playing for...
I can't remember, it was myself or Har that had asked him about bringing more veterans into the team, and he's like, look, I've been playing since I've been 18 years old. I am a veteran. And it's like Tiber's a veteran as well. It's like, no matter what you think of him, he is a veteran.
Oof.
Oh, at least Seattle's still going for it. Bless them.
They got 3 minutes of Schmetzer time.
Hey, this would be the comeback to end all comebacks if they did anything in this. I think we're safe to Couple of things in the chat. Milan M is on. You know him, Naveed.
Yeah.
He's saying hi, Naveed. John O'Flynn, All-Ireland hurling final tomorrow, 7:30 in the morning, Limerick against Waterford. I haven't watched hurling or Gaelic football for a number of years. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it.
No.
Two very violent sports.
Yeah,
Hurling in particular. It's like field hockey, but you're holding your stick up in the air and you can hit people with it.
Jeez.
Yeah, Gaelic football. I tried to watch some. They had some on Sportsnet World for like the summer that I had Sportsnet World, and my wife was just confounded about why are they dribbling it and then they're putting it on their feet. Like what? I can't figure out the rules. That makes no sense. And she also doesn't like that there's two ways of scoring. She's like, there's got to be only one way of scoring. You put it in the net or the uprights.
Yeah, for me, it's the last time I had any experience with hurling was about a year ago at my cousin's engagement. It was a rough couple hours there and a rough week to follow.
I tell you, if you think hurling's vicious as well, you should see some shinty, good old North Scotland sport.
I've seen videos of that on YouTube.
Yeah, shinty is absolutely insane. What else have we got in the chat? Protege 5 is sending shoulder solidarity to me. Thank you so much. He did his clavicle in August in a cycling crash.
Oh,
yeah. I did my clavicle a couple of years ago as well, just some tomfoolery after an East Fife away day. So I feel that pain as well. But we'll wrap up soon. As soon as the final whistle goes, we'll keep going just for a little bit after that, if you guys are okay with that, just while they're doing the presentations. Then I'll wrap things up and I'll kind of jump on the post-game press conferences. And for those of you listening on the podcast, I'll probably splice a little bit of audio in. But since we've been talking all MLS things, there is the final whistle. Caleb Porter is a two-timer. He's a two-time MLS Cup champ. And Columbus Crew as well are two-time MLS Cup champs. That was 2008.
Wait a second, I'm 10 seconds behind. They still might be able to make it.
Oh, sorry, don't want to spoil it.
No, it's over. It's over.
In the multiverse, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So this Ziggy Schmidt is happy. This Ziggy Schmidt is happy.
Yes.
This Ziggy Schmidt is not. Wherever there it is.
The battle of the Ziggies.
Yeah, wow. That's a comfortable and comprehensive win for Columbus. They deserved it from start to finish. Let's just get your thoughts on the games. We'll go around them all. Start with Naveed.
Well deserved, over 90 minutes. I can't think of a clear-cut chance of Seattle, to be honest. I mean, I think well deserved. They got it done.
Yeah, I mean, the Seattle huffed and puffed, but they just didn't come close.
Oh, yeah. There is a Canadian there, Jordan Hamilton. I just saw him right there in the background. I don't think he was on the bench though. I don't think he was 18, but
there's a Scottish guy, Chris Cadden, with Columbus.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Oh yeah, Jordan Hamilton.
Yeah, he played one game against East Fife. I know that because I checked his stats just to see, because I was going to speak to him this week and I was going to ask him about that. Oh yeah, Jordan Hamilton. I forgot he'd moved to
I totally missed that.
Oh, so there you go.
But
John,
he wasn't on the bench though. But he still is part of the winning team, I guess, winning club.
So Will, just what's your thoughts on Columbus's win quickly?
Well, they obviously really had Seattle's number, and it did definitely see from about the 15-minute mark on that Columbus had most of the game. Seattle had a bit of a late surge, with another 10 minutes or 15 minutes to go at the end of the game. But really I felt it was mostly Columbus and a well-deserved win.
Oh, Caleb Porter,
is that the new? Yeah, is it the new Mourinho? New Mourinho?
Yeah.
They're gonna have to break some oxygen out for him right now.
Yeah,
he's enjoying this. It's like.
Is it because it's against Seattle? You think a little bit?
That might be part of it.
Oh, that'll be extra special for him. Yeah. I'm still not sure fans should be there.
Oh,
I tend to agree with you.
Everything that's happening, 100%. But it's lovely to see them there with what they went through. I hope the fans that got to be there were people that were real driving forces in the whole Save the Crew thing. because to me that would make it extra special. If it's gone to like dignitaries and bigwigs and folk that haven't suffered the way that a lot of the other fans had suffered and did stuff, then that would be sad. But it's nice to have them there. I just don't think they should be. I was watching the boxing earlier tonight, and they had 1,000 people there in the boxing, and I was like, they're talking about moving London into tier 3, and you're letting fans go into boxing. And there was meant to be no, like the darts is starting on Tuesday, and there's meant to be no singing and no shouting. Yeah, good luck with that.
Seriously.
Once the beers start flowing, it's like, because there was meant to be no singing at the boxing, and they were singing at the boxing.
Yeah.
How do you stop 1,000 people from singing?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's one of these things where, I mean, first of all, people want to be there, and second of all, the teams want to sell tickets, and third of all, the players and the club want people to be there for the atmosphere.
And the TV network.
And the TV network, because that's what's driving a lot of this. Great call, Steve. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just going off the charts. I mean, Navid in the States, I feel for you guys, but we were talking before we went on. But Canada, like BC, is going through the roof too. So,
yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's been a tough year for everyone. I'll kind of just wrap up with one last little segment. We'll just kind of keep chatting until they do the presentation, maybe. But this has obviously been the 25th year of MLS, 25th anniversary. When they planned all this, when the league got underway, they could never have imagined that they would be going through all the crap that they've gone through, suspended season, a bubble tournament, some teams being able to get fans in, some not. They've had some off-the-field controversy as well, like at Real Salt Lake and the stuff that's gone there. The Black Lives Matter movement's really kind of risen to prominence because of everything that's happened just elsewhere in America that kind of sparked all this. When you look back on this season, first of all, I'll just get your thoughts on this season to start with. We'll start again with Navid. How would you look back on this season? Have you enjoyed what you've seen of it? Do you feel it's been a success?
Overall, given the circumstances, I would say, I mean, the Orlando tournament, putting everything together, I mean, I wouldn't say if it's a success, but I don't think they could have done anything better, to be honest. I mean, what else could they do? I mean, there weren't a lot of options, to be honest. It's definitely, looking back, it's a special season. But I think MDS said in one of the interviews with you or in the press conference, like, you can't really tell who really was the best team over the year.
yeah,
No.
Or like the MVP or
Yeah.
the best, It's like, I mean, I was just going to ask you guys, how was Columbus actually like over the year? I actually like,
they're pretty good at the beginning. I thought.
But would you predict who they're going to be MLS Cup winners? Like,
No.
so it's like,
I thought Philly would have done it because they've been strong all year. But then I also thought, really in the back of my mind, it's going to be Seattle against Toronto again.
Yeah.
Because I just thought Toronto were going to just basically get it done.
Toronto was looking up for it, in August, September, and then they just sort of hit a wall.
The thing is with the MLS playoffs is, except for the finals, they're usually very unpredictable. Like you'll get major like upsets that you're not expecting at all. So it's very hard to predict who's going to be there at the end. But especially when the last couple of years when they've gone to like these 1-game elimination games, it's been very hard. You don't know who's going to come out on top on a single game. But overall, you're right. The last few years, Toronto, Seattle wasn't that great. Nobody expected Columbus to be in there, but they still had. In the East, there was so many like teams that were kind of on the same level, and there was no way to really figure out who was going to come out on top there. In the West, I still thought it was going to be LAFC, but then they lost players at the returning tournament and stuff like that. So that one again, you don't know who was going to win. But Seattle, they had a team that was been together for so many years, so you kind of expected them to do it again.
One blow I mean the league had done was definitely the fact that the Cavs didn't go through the playoffs because of the points per, what was it?
Yeah.
That was, I mean, if they could do something better, that was one that.
I just have to kind of agree that
Yeah.
I just think that was a joke. And to be honest,
Yeah.
like I enjoyed the MLS's back tournament, but after that, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I wasn't really feeling the season, and it
I'm
seemed
the
a bit
same.
a joke.
But
Yeah.
I
I just
think a
think they
big
should have
part of
ended
it,
it.
like for me, a big part of it was, and we talked about this in the show, MLS is back. Every single game was on TSN.
Mhm.
So you could PVR it, you could watch it
Yeah.
at your leisure, you could fast forward through it if you wanted to watch them that way. As soon as it started, some games were on, some were on the zone, some weren't on at all. My interest did wane.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
100%.
the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference, I couldn't really have told you what was happening with it outside of Montreal and Toronto and Phillies
It did feel like
Jonathan
now not the same level, but it was sort of like a cup tournament, like the Euro or the World Cup, where I'm like really engaged in all these games that are going on. Obviously, I had a dog in the fight, but it was also like it was the whole event meant something kind of thing to a certain extent. And I know some people didn't like this, but I'm working at home. I enjoy turning on the games at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or whatever and having them in the background while I'm working. And I'm like, oh, I really want to catch the one after work or at 3 p.m. or whatever it was. So I enjoyed having that. And that felt like a very compressed, intense thing like the World Cup or the Euro. Certainly not as big. I'm not trying to say it was as big, but
I loved it. I genuinely would not have an issue with them doing that next year as well.
Yeah. We enjoyed it so much we were going to do an 8 o'clock watch along.
I know.
The game got canceled.
Garber did talk about they've lost nearly $1 billion this year, and that everything that went into putting that tournament on, the way that he was talking about it makes it sound like they're not going to do anything like that again, just logistically, cost, everything like that. So I mean that it was great. He just feels that the viewing figures in the States have been really good since they returned. So I guess that's the big driving thing. The game that they moved, as much as we said it was terrible that they moved that game to the Seattle Minnesota game to the Thursday, or was it the Sporting Kansas City Minnesota game? They moved that to the Thursday to be on Fox. It drew their best rating
of all time.
I can't remember exactly what he said.
Okay.
For a normal game or a playoff game, I think it was their best rating because it was on Fox Sports proper. It was on Fox proper.
Oh,
Fox
I like
Sports,
this.
it
I
was on
like this
Fox.
owner. I like this owner big time. Let the player actually grab the cup.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Atlanta when the owner he took the cup? I think.
Yes.
I hate the fact. I hate the
Yeah.
fact that they give these cups to the owners first.
It's stupid. Yeah.
Like they do it in
yeah.
they do it in NFL, in baseball, and in basketball.
Yeah.
In hockey, it goes to the. Oh, I don't even see the owner on the ice.
Well done, Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really happy. So last couple of things then quickly. So it's the 25th year. Like, do you look at MLS fondly? It gets obviously a hard time. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the league that's nonsense and all the rules that are so complicated to understand. But it is the top level of football we've got in North America. There's been rumors this week that FIFA have approved Liga MX and MLS merging. So whether that is true or not, I don't know. If you have that being the case, the Whitecaps are even more out in the cold.
Yeah, I just can't see us being a factor in that.
No, we're not at the top table or the middle table. We're at one of those little tables that Donald Trump's been signing all his things on.
I don't get how they're gonna do this. Like, why? Like, I understand that they want to get like
TV money. This is what this is
I understand
all
the TV money, but why not just do something else on the side like they were doing before? But I guess maybe they didn't feel that was legitimate enough. I don't know. Remember that tournament they were trying to do where they have half Mexican, half the
I mean, that's still going. So I don't know if this is to be an additional thing or if it's to take over from it. There had been initial talks it was going to happen after the 2026 World Cup. So I mean, it still could be a while away. But I mean, you are just getting then onto.
That I could see with the timing, like doing it after the World Cup. But generally speaking, I don't know.
I think if they do that, they have to do different like leagues, like
leagues.
Higher
they
league,
would have to like
higher league, lower
tier
league,
2.
and maybe 3 tiers.
Well, you'd have to have promotion relegation then.
100%.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
There's already 3 tiers in Mexico.
Yeah.
There's the Asuncia.
Yeah,
or
and they
whatever.
stopped relegation from the top tier this year because lots of stuff that was going on
And
or
can
something.
you
Oh.
imagine if Vancouver's in a tier with teams all mostly East Coast, down south, or something like that?
Well,
And
yeah.
there's no teams near them at all.
Well, the only thing that might work in our favor is they were talking about a lot of it would be regionalized,
Oh, okay.
but
That doesn't make
Mexico's
sense
kind of
either.
on our side anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that doesn't, I don't know how that works.
That
Maybe
doesn't
they
make
mean
sense.
the top teams would be in, like, say, the Premier Division, and then everything else would be regionalized. The bad thing, if that happened from the Whitecaps view, is all our rivals would then be in the top
Yep.
tier.
Yeah,
Jeez.
except
They would be in
Montreal.
with Colorado and like Real Salt Lake and stuff like that, probably.
Except Montreal. Montreal would be the only one that would be one of our kind of rivals.
Oh, we'll probably
Yeah.
end up moving to a North Division or something.
yeah.
Would you
would-
guys think that they're going to remove the salary cap thing? Because
They'd have to.
They have
would
to, that
have to, 100%.
Well, that'd be
the MLS
interesting.
teams couldn't compete.
maybe
Yeah.
different levels. Maybe there's no salary cap at the top level, and then you have salary caps at the lower levels.
That could be when the Whitecaps move to CPL because,
Yeah, I was thinking.
or they
that.
just sell the team and it relocates somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, because the thing is they can sell the MLS franchise,
Right.
and then
Yeah,
keep the
they
Whitecaps
can sell the
name and
rights.
everything.
And, yeah, they'll keep
Yeah,
all
and
that.
Yeah, and then they moved. That's what I thought would happen anyways. And by like 2030, I was
Yeah.
expecting that to happen because by then all the expansion teams will be taken up or spots or whatever.
Last thing to mention, MLS announced their all-time top 25 greatest players this week that's played in the league over the 25 years. I mean, I'm sure it comes as a big surprise that there was no Whitecaps on it. I mean, I was stunned. But there wasn't even any former Whitecaps that were on it as well. There was a few that were nominated.
Really? Huh?
Yeah.
Let me guess. Wait. Nominated.
Yeah.
Camilo would have to be one.
Well, it would have to be Jaden Merritt, one of them, you would think. Oh no, the goalkeeper. What's
David Ousted.
No, from San Jose. Come on,
Joe
Joe
Cannon.
Cannon.
Joe Cannon, yeah.
I could say Joe Cannon.
Yeah.
Joe
Joe
Yeah.
Cannon was nominated, as was Kai
Camilo?
Kamara. No,
Okay.
no Camilo. And
Really?
there was a third Whitecap.
Third Whitecap.
Davies.
Think about I was going to say, think about who's had a massive
right.
impact in
Yeah,
MLS.
yeah.
Alfonso Davies.
I thought Camilo would be because he did have that one fantastic year, and I thought that would be enough for him to be nominated at least.
Well, see,
Yeah.
this is the discussion I was having with folk. Like, obviously, I'm joking. There's no way the Whitecaps, any
Yeah,
Whitecaps,
yeah,
would be anywhere near the top 25. Some folk didn't get that. I was joking when I tweeted that out. But obviously, I don't think that. But then you start to think,
Paul
top
Barber would
50.
have.
Is there any in the top 50? Top 75, top 100? Because you're thinking about guys that's made an actual contribution. Because you look at guys that's on this list, and it's guys that's won MLS Cups.
Yeah,
Right.
Camilo is the only guy that maybe would have had an argument, but he would have had to have been here for me a couple of more seasons to even be in the
or
equation.
he would have had to have that one season. He would have had to have that at least one more time,
Yeah.
and then that would have been reasonable. I think most likely, probably there's only one Canadian, right? De Rosario was probably the only
Di
Canadian.
Rosario
Yeah.
made it. There's a
made it.
couple more nominated. Pat Onstad
Yeah.
was nominated. Will Johnson was nominated as well.
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson was.
I don't know who was doing the nominating. They never asked me. It said it's 200 former and current players, coaches, staff, and media.
Was Connor Casey on that list? Because
No.
not that I would have picked
Not the
him,
top
but
25.
You
No,
didn't make
it
the
wouldn't
top
have been the top
25, but I'm
25,
pretty
but
sure
he
he
had-
would have got nominated. Yeah.
He had 2 brilliant seasons and helped win that cup in Colorado, but he didn't have a very long-standing impact.
No, I mean, some of the names on it, I'll quickly, no, I won't quickly rattle through 25 names. That's a lot for folk to sit and listen to me.
Well,
But
a lot of the names aren't going to be recognized because they're from the
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
But you've got like Beckham and Beckham, Di Rosario, Dempsey, Donovan, Javinko, Kobe Jones, Robbie Keane, Joseph Martinez.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah,
he-
he's had
I
a
mean, he
couple.
broke the record, right?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like he's had a couple of good years. That's what I'm saying.
that's
If
why I was saying if
Camilo
Camilo had
had-
stayed and done that,
Yeah, then
Yeah.
he would have been.
you'd then be
up there.
looking at something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll close. I didn't really want to close on a negative thing, but we'll close by saying it's quite damning that the Whitecaps aren't even close to having a top 25 or a top 50. maybe even a top 100 guy in there from his time with the Whitecaps. And let's just hope the next, not 25 years, but the next 5 years can see a change. Because we've sat and watched Columbus tonight.
Yeah.
They're not a sexy team. They're not from a city that folks players are going to be like, oh, I want to go and live in Columbus and play.
Right.
Because folk are often saying, oh, it's hard to compete with New York and LA. I think we can compete with a team like Columbus. But you've got a management group that believes in it, have brought in key players, have done good scouting. You've got a coach that's a proven success. You've got proven guys on that team in MLS. Now they're MLS Cup champs. And I know it's been a strange season. And I know teams didn't play other teams. And maybe there is an asterisk beside their names. But we're always talking about we should strive to be like this team, like Seattle or Portland. We should be striving to be like Columbus.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I really think next year is going to be a key year for the club.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one.
It worries me because of the border issues and quarantine. And are you going to say to players, look, you might not see your family for maybe 3-4 weeks at a time. And then when you do, you're maybe going to see them for just 2 days. It's all going to depend on vaccines and borders. You've got the Canadian government saying we don't see the American border opening anytime soon until things are under control in the US.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen.
Because
you just have to hope the vaccine numbers as well. It's not enough to have what you need until probably September, October time.
Yeah.
So they're rumored to keep the borders closed for the NHL. If they're keeping the borders closed to the NHL, they're not going to be opening it up for any other league.
Right.
I think the Raptors are playing in Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like genuinely, if I was Mark DeSantis, young family, I'd be like, do I want to even put myself through this? When there's maybe other options, I can take a year out. My stock's still going to be high with what I've done before. Just sit this out. He's not going to ever do that. But that would be how I would approach it.
But it
Same
might
with
be
players too.
Yeah,
But
I was just about to say, getting players might be difficult if you're trading within the league and you're going to be picking up an American or something.
Well,
like
no,
that.
but if you think of it, for those players they want to acquire, I think I talked about it on a different podcast, earlier podcast. If you're going to be playing in Portland most of the year, you could say you don't have to worry about, are you coming to Vancouver? You can move your family to Portland. And that might be a selling feature. Like even a player from outside the MLS, you say you'll be a little bit in Vancouver, and then most of the year we'll be playing in America.
This could be our way to get experienced MLS veteran Americans as well.
That's a good point, as long as their families are willing to move, I guess.
Yeah. And like I said, they're going to be maybe on that side, they'll be a couple months away from their families, but most of the year they'll be with their families because Vancouver will be in Portland.
Yeah. I think that's a good point to end it. Thank you, everyone, for watching the stream. I know most folk will listen to this later on the podcast and stuff. We'll just go around, everyone, for a final goodbye and just let everyone know where they can find you online. Let's start with Will.
My name is Will Silver. You can get me at, at Cover Collective on Twitter.
You can find me at Mashinchi, and thanks for having me. It was tons of fun. Really appreciate it.
Really enjoyed it. We're going to get you two guys back on with a quiz with Steve and Zach. We're going to be doing a few quizzes. Myself, Zach, and Steve will each host one. Steve, let people know where they can find you online.
Yeah, my name is Steve Pander. You can find me at Whitecaps Beat, and I will be finishing 4th in the quiz.
Well, I might throw some things in that you know about wrestling. I'll try and get some wrestling tie-ins. Don't forget you can give Zach a follow on Twitter at ZacharyAM. I'm Michael McCall. Give me a follow on Twitter, AFTN Canada. Read our stuff, aftn.ca. We're going to have some stuff going up. I'm going to do a little piece from a chat with the Austin guys this week as well, ahead of the expansion draft. So check all that out. Please like this channel, subscribe it, turn on notifications, and like this video. It's going to help us with the algorithms. I don't understand all that, but that's what all the cool kids say, so I'm sure that's a fact. But thank you for staying with us. I hope you've enjoyed the MLS Cup. I hope you've enjoyed what turned out to be a very MLS-heavy chat as well. We'll be back soon. Until then, I'll just warn you guys, and I'll cut this out of the podcast. As soon as I wrap this up and I hit that it's the end, it just abruptly ends. So I can't say goodbye to you, so I'll say goodbye to you now. Thank you so much for giving up your time tonight and joining. To everyone else that's watching, thanks for watching. Take care, and mon the Caps. Bye, everyone.